I wonder if the main character will ever be able to count how many times she replayed this scene. A man named Gabriel Fall Ellen Belkias would like to express my sincere gratitude to everyone who came here today, and take this opportunity to announce important news. The gentleman wants to propose marriage to the young Mrs. Hillington. The main character knew that this moment would come someday. As soon as he finished his speech, everyone present instantly turned in her direction. Insensitive like a stone, the girl froze, unable to even breathe. The owner of a bright blush, her charming sister. It's very interesting who among the two has a better chance of getting this offer. The main character decided that she was not going to endure this anymore. It's so stupid that he continues to cling to his unrequited love. An excited, joyful uproar had already risen among the crowd, but he didn't even look at the main character. It was time to let go of the thread she was holding onto in her soul, because she's just an extra. The entire banquet hall was excited by her sudden decision, but the lady closed her eyes so as not to pay attention to it. In the climactic scene of the novel, Sweet Girl, the main character has run away. She believed that since she was just a pathetic extra, she could run away. Our main character's sister was everyone's favorite main character in this novel, and this is the main character who was destined to present her with the glass slipper. The lady is just an extra. She has no place on the stage of their love. Now this momentary greed will disappear. She decided to leave everything and just disappear. A life full of disappointments and pain pushed her to this decision. Now she is looking for a new path and peace. A month has passed since she ran away and opened a small flower shop in a new village. Sales were too good and rumors began to spread. Nobles began to visit her, but they are rarely interested in the life of common people. Eventually he came too. The lady didn't understand at all why he was here and decided to ask him how he was doing. The man tried to say something. The girl noticed that his voice was trembling. She was already beginning to believe that something had happened. Hillington asked if she hated him so much that she rejected his proposal and fled to such a place. The main character did not understand at all what proposal he was talking about. Hillington noted that even if she ran away again, it would not help. After all, he will follow her wherever she goes. Hillington is fascinated by her, and without her, he seems to forget how to breathe. She made him like this. The girl did not understand at all what was happening. She already believed that his sister had rejected him, and the shock had caused him to go crazy. She asked him if he was sure that he was saying this to the right person. People believed that he got drunk and confused her with his sister. The girl simply couldn't believe that now the man who had hated her for so long was proposing marriage to her and was suddenly making this proposal. Lady was born as the main character's older sister. We didn't agree with my sister to see each other again when the chance came. It all started about 20 years ago when she was born as a supporting character in the world of a goddamn novel. The girl did not understand at all how she survived, but when she opened her eyes, she couldn't say anything. She was very interested in what happened to her body. She had a pacifier in her mouth. She heard everything the servant said about some plan. The girl couldn't believe at all that she was kidnapped on the day she died. She really wanted to get up, but it was very difficult. The men were arguing, and the girl heard that they stole her from the temple and decided to make money from it. The main character hears this language for the first time, but understands it. When she saw her fingers, she realized that she really was a child. The girl was sure that she definitely died in the hospital room, but what is this? These men were immediately found and captured. They managed to escape not far away. One of the men grabbed the child and told him not to move unless they wanted him to kill the child. The man shouted that everything should stand still. This child is part of the Hillington family. They will answer with their own heads for even the smallest scratch on the mistress's body. The man said that breaking this baby's neck would be a piece of cake. The main character was in pain. The knights asked how he dared. The man shouted that they had forgotten who had the mistress in their hands now. Suddenly, he was grabbed from behind and he let go of the girl. The main character did not understand how they allowed her to be abandoned. She didn't even have time to figure out the situation and would die again. But thank God the sir managed to do it. He was so handsome that the girl thought she was dreaming about it all. His Highness asked if those two were criminals. The knights asked what to do with them. The gentleman noticed that the one who dared to touch his daughter deserves only death. He ordered them to be killed. The little lady was shocked that a man had just been killed before her eyes. The gentleman decided to end it there and leave. The girl thought that such a dream was due to the fact that she was excited. "We need to get away from here." When she woke up, she saw a woman in front of her who told me to bring powdered milk because the lady woke up. The maid has just returned and must now look after the child, but the other one told her to watch her language. After all, she herself must realize how sensitive the situation is now. They get paid enough to silently follow orders. The maid was very interested in whether there are even aristocrats who don't have problems. Also with Duke Belkius. And their mistress was completely stolen. People have gone completely crazy for having the nerve to touch Hillington. Now the main character understood that she was hearing the names of the family of the main characters of that novel. She could not believe that she had been born into a world where the image of a sweet, kind girl reigned, which she had never felt as her own. This image seemed alien to her and far from reality. The maid decided to make a note about the Belkius family. They were all killed in one night. It's such a horror. Now the main character was absolutely sure that she was inside the novel, because there was exactly the same incident. This is one of the reasons why the main male character became more severe. After his entire family was killed, he got rid of his remaining blood relatives and became the head of the family. The maid told the lady that she eats so well. The second one noticed that it was already time for a nap, so she would go. The girl didn't understand where, because she really just left. The maid asked the lady to sleep. Rod Belkius in that event, and she definitely called her Mrs. Hillington, so she became Rose from the novel Sweet Girl. A lot of time has passed. The girl has been living a new life for 12 months. She wants to walk. The maid told the lady to be more careful. Rose understood that the sooner she learned to stand firmly on her feet, the sooner she could figure out what was happening. The maid took Madame Rose in her arms and said that she had done a great job. The second maid told Lila that the mistress was already 12 months old, so she should already start saying something. But Lilia noticed that all children are different, and the lady just doesn't want to talk yet. Otherwise, she's just perfectly developed. Lilia is a very devoted maid. She always protects her. She's very interested in why her hair is this color. After all, Rosé definitely had light pink hair, so she figured that would change with age. The girl tried to remember if there was anything about this in the novel. Almost nothing is written about her childhood in the novel, only her father's memories. Their relationship was, of course, quite tense. It must have been difficult for him when his beloved wife died of a postpartum illness. The maid told Lila that the lady didn't like something. It was nap time now, so she had to put her to bed. Lilia understood and said that they would study later. The girl didn't understand at all why lately she had been forced to walk so much. There are only a few hours left until the lady's birthday. The main character thought that she would be able to see her father, but now I want to sleep. The maid wished pleasant dreams to the lady. When the lady was sleeping, she had a strange feeling. She noticed that no one was with her, not even Lily. Someone is always sitting with her, so it's not at all clear where everyone is. Today is also her birthday, so it's very strange, very quiet and ominous. The girl didn't know what happened, but it seems she needs to go. The little girl has already gone through so much, but she hasn't met anyone, and he doesn't understand at all where everyone is gone. Suddenly she heard a sound. It's like someone is fighting. She really wanted to ask Lily what was going on here. The man asked if this situation was hopeless. The doctor said that easing her suffering would be the best solution. The girl asked if she would die, but the man said that he would not let her go. The lady said she was fine and grateful to him. She told Sears that he had to remember that this wasn't about the baby. The lady said that perhaps there will be those who want to take advantage of the blessing of their baby. He must save her. Save the girl. The maid asked His Excellency to look at her daughter. The little girl was surprised and didn't understand. What other girl? There was only one child in the Hillington family, and she is very interested in who she is. And this man is most likely her father. Since this is Rosé, the girl doesn't understand who she is at all. The doctor shouted that the lady's breathing was stopping. The gentleman asked to look at her. You asked not to leave her. Elizabeth spoke her last words and apologized. The gentleman cried and asked her not to leave him like that. Sears von Hillington. This is a person who has been blessed in an official ceremony to receive the title Perfect Love. Many believed that I was not at all suitable for such a cold man. After all, he was cruel not only to others, but I was cruel to myself, far from love. But after meeting Elizabeth, he changed dramatically. Unfortunately, their happiness did not last long. After the loss of his beloved woman, he burst into tears and completely forgot about dignity and composure. The disease took their mistress. Suddenly, Lilia noticed the lady. Everyone was in complete shock when they saw the baby. Lilia ran up to her and grabbed her in her arms. The servants did not understand at all how she was able to overcome such a distance. The child couldn't feel it. Their facial expressions looked as if someone had just died. The maid did not understand what Lilia was doing. She informed His Excellency that the First Lady had arrived. The maid told His Excellency that she would take care of the mistress, but Sears told her to give the girl to him. Sears hugged his precious daughters, having lost the beautiful Duchess Elizabeth in an instant. They could not leave her bed for a long time, like people who had lost their way. People were talking among themselves. They heard new news that His Majesty might be in sight. They say that the heir to Duke Belchius has gone completely mad. Everyone couldn't believe that Hillington would collapse like that. Their love was so unusual, and everyone was very interested in what caused the death of the Duchess. They say the children were born twins, but no one knows if this is true. A man bound by bonds is very blind. I'm very sorry for the kids. One of the ladies heard that the Duchess died because of the blessing of her eldest daughter. Everyone was very interested in what happened to the girl after her death, 7 years later. The maid combed the girl and asked if the mistress liked it. She asked her to add more ribbons, and she asked if she knew where Lilia was now. It was the maid who was now with Madame Rosé. Today is his and Rosé's 8th birthday and the anniversary of their mother's death. The maid finished and the mistress had to hurry. Typically, aristocratic families throw lavish parties in honor of their children's birthdays. But after the death of the Duchess, the Hillingtons stopped going out, which is why rumors about their seclusion began to spread. The maid left her because she had business to do. This is what happened in the original story. Everything will change at the first ball. The main characters will meet. Rose and Gabriel. For now, this is all just the distant future. In the meantime, she needs to go down. The father noticed that they say that Rose has problems learning etiquette. Looks like it's true. But there are so many forks and knives that Rosa gets confused. Sears told her not to fool around. The main character noticed that her father was trying to seem strict, but could not stop smiling. This is how I work with Rose's charm. The blessing of the rose is luxuriously blooming. Now she knows exactly how everything will be. In the end, everyone will love and care for little Rosariel, because she, like her blessing, is very cute and attractive. Unlike her, the name of the main character is Hilde. Her father asked her if she liked the food. Sears noted that he ordered her favorite food to be prepared. This expression on his face, Hildea doesn't understand at all why he's forcing himself to talk to her. Hildea said that she liked everything, but she herself understood that because of her, the atmosphere was deteriorating. It would be better if she ate alone. Rose suggested that Dad end these conversations. After all, today is his and his sister's holiday. Her father noted with a smile that this was just what she had been waiting for. He ordered gifts to be brought. Rose quickly began to open her gift. There were many beautiful decorations, as many as 5 pieces. Hildea noticed that it suits her very well. Rose told her to open it too and show off her gift. When Hildea opened her gift, she saw shoes there. She knew she needed to be nice. It looks like sneakers. The father asked if she liked it, and maybe she wanted it brighter, but Hildea said that everything was fine. She said she really liked them and they looked comfortable. The gift is truly wonderful, and she is very grateful to her father. She felt so warm at heart. The observer joined the conversation, something like a magical chat. All the rumors immediately jumped up as the news arrived. Everyone was very interested in what was there. The servant shouted for her to speak quickly, but she could not, because she was still writing. The incredible happened. Mistress Hilde smiled. Her charming smile and embarrassed blush are incredibly cute, and now you can die in peace. He will capture it on canvas. The maids would really like to go there. This meant that all their hard work was worth it. They all stayed awake for 10 nights in a row and created a miracle, but for the second lady's gift, they tried harder. It's so much fantasy. His Excellency also decided to do this for the first time, so it took a lot of money and magic. Silver hair is beautiful, joined the conversation. How much Mrs. Hildea liked it from 1 to 10. He wants to book all the paintings. 10, exactly 10. 10 paintings are planned. We'll sell on a first-come, first-served basis. They should definitely keep this a secret. The maid decided that she would buy all 10 pieces. But the man did not agree with her, because she only decided to enjoy the beauty of her mistress. But this is impossible. She must give up her pen. His Highness addressed Gabriel. He said that his time had come to become the sword that would defeat all the enemies of the Miel Empire. Only in this way can he prove that he is worthy of the name of his family. His path and decisions will go down in history, so he must live wisely and correctly. Gabriel was grateful for the honor from His Majesty. You promised to do your best. The emperor was delighted and announced that from now on he was the only Duke of Belkius in the empire. Now he can go. Gabriel was very happy, and after bowing, he left the emperor's residence. The knight asked the gentleman how everything went. Gabriel said that there was nothing complicated. He threw him the emperor's seal, to which the knight said that he could not treat it like that, because they were still in the palace. But Gabriel believed that since he had already accepted it, then everything had already been decided in advance. The knight noticed that his master had been waiting for this moment for a very long time, but it seemed that he was not at all happy. The servant was already beginning to think that something was wrong with the empress. He said he would sort it out. He just needed to say it. But Gabriel wanted to leave quickly. The knight asked what happened. Gabriel said that everything was fine with the empress, just a personal order from the emperor. The man already roughly understood what the gentleman was talking about. Gabriel said that everyone would not calm down with this marriage. The servant noticed that before this he had a good reason, the lack of a title, but now they will have enough of him making an offer and then withdrawing it. The marriage certificate that grandfather sent, he believed that she was now in the Hillington family. The knight really hoped that his master was not going to steal the certificate. The Hillington family is very famous. The gentleman noticed that the certificate was lost and the marriage could not be concluded. This is the best variant. The knight said that, however, this is the Hillington family, and you need to be even more careful with it than with the imperial family. And becoming a thief is not a good idea. If you get caught, the situation will only get worse, and there will be no one else to be the head of the family. Gabriel said that you just need to avoid getting caught. The knight considered him a beast. If his master is not careful, it will be a very loud shame. Gabriel added that no one but him would have had time to tell him such a thing. The man thought he had a good feeling. Gabriel said that in order for everything to go smoothly, he would go himself. When Hildea woke up, she saw Rose next to her. Lilia was against it, but she still came to sleep with her. Such a cutie. Rose said something in her sleep. This made Hill laugh. She became very interested in what she was dreaming about, probably something tasty. Hill was very grateful to her sister because she only smiles because of her. Suddenly, the girl heard an unfamiliar voice that spoke about the first mistress. This meant they were talking about Hill. The little lady decided it was worth finding out why people were talking about her in the middle of the night. She didn't really want to hear it, but Hill figured she should because she might regret it later. When she opened the doors, she saw a servant she had never seen before. He asked the second whether the rumors were true, but there was something that was especially interesting to him. He asked whether it was true that the Duchess died because of the blessing of the first mistress. Hill didn't understand what he meant, and whether her mother really died because of her blessing. She didn't even know that she had it. The girl didn't understand at all why Dad and the others were behaving this way. This made her cry even more. Hill doesn't know what kind of blessing she has, or if she even has the right to be here. Rose approached her sister and asked what happened, but Hill said it was nothing. Rosé asked her sister if she was crying and wondered if someone had offended her, but Hill denied everything because she had no reason to cry. But the younger sister tearfully said she had been crying and believed Hill had heard something bad. Hill assured her sister that everything was fine, and what was more important was why she got up, because it was still night. In this case, Rose invited her to go to bed together. Hill thought that she really was cute. If it weren't for her, it's hard for Hill to even imagine what would have happened. Rose took her older sister's hand and noted that they say sleep is the cure for everything. Hill asked with a smile where she heard about it. When they were in bed, Rose wished her little sister pleasant dreams, and Hill did the same. But she noticed that in the morning she would need to find out what kind of blessing she had. If only it turned out to be untrue. Hill couldn't believe that her mother died because of the blessing. Suddenly, Rose woke up and asked her sister if she was sleeping. When she saw tears in Hill's eyes, she immediately jumped up. The girl did not understand at all who dared to bring her sister to tears. She needs the paper, now. She ran up and tore out the leaf. She started writing on it. It was a pity that she couldn't say directly, but she decided that she would destroy everyone who was behind this. The man asked again if it was true that the Duchess died because of the blessing of the First Lady. But the second man was silent, and he already began to think that he had fallen asleep because he froze like a statue and was silent. The man, who was silent and furious, asked what he had to do with their mistress. He noticed that the more often he opened his mouth, the more crap came out. The servant did not understand at all how he dared to discuss the mistress of the Hillington family, and he didn't understand what was wrong with him, because he was already just a servant. The man asked again whether he liked throwing mud at his masters, and he held this bastard by the neck. He closed his mouth and ordered him not to open it, because his mistress was nearby. He asked how about dying today. The observer joined the conversation. He is looking for people who can get rid of the newcomer. He brought Mrs. Hilde to tears. He gossiped, so he should be re-educated. Sears ordered this servant to be thrown out. In the afternoon of the next day. Today, the lady came to tell them the stories of the Hillington and Belkias families. Perhaps they have questions. Rose raised her hand and the teacher asked what she was interested in. The girl wanted to ask about the marriage proposal. She wondered what would happen if she and her sister both refused. Hell didn't quite understand what kind of refusal we were talking about. Rose talked about arranged marriages, and it was unclear to whom. She considered it all very stupid and boring, just like this stupid etiquette. The teacher said that this was an order from His Majesty the Emperor. Rose shouldn't say things like that in front of others, because she might get herself into trouble. Hell didn't even think that such a thought could come into her head. The First Lady believed that it was all because of her. Rose behaves differently than in the original story. In the book, she studied a lot to gain her father's acceptance. She also often got sick due to her weak immune system. However, here Rose hates studying. She is in excellent health and eats well. The teacher asked Madame Rosé what she thought about Mrs. Hilde. The girl said that her sister was very beautiful, ideal, and better than any other aristocrats. Hill was grateful for the compliments. The teacher said that the lady was right because it was she who taught Hill. But she suddenly stopped and said that was not what she wanted to say. The teacher meant that she should look at her and learn. Rose didn't think she could do it. After all, they are so different. The teacher didn't quite understand what it was. Both are mistresses. Both are taught the same way. The teacher extends the lesson for another hour, and Mrs. Hilde can go. Rose didn't want her sister to leave at all, but Hill said she would go. The teacher suggested we start. Rose sat in tears and really wanted to see her sister. Hill decided to try it once. She threw it on the potty and really hoped that it would work. Everything was as she thought. The pot was fixed. But she wondered what kind of blessing this was. In principle, a good gift, but it is unclear why the rumors started. She believed that perhaps she could heal, or something else, but thank God, at least there is a gift. We need to study all this, in case I suddenly have to leave the estate. Hill knew she needed to clear her head. She was afraid that she would have to play sports in shoes. The girls were very interested in why they gave them to her, as if they knew something. Hill decided it was just a coincidence, and when she walks, all stupid thoughts will go away. When she came out, there was such a strange feeling, as if someone was watching her and suddenly she saw a boy. She already believed that it was a ghost or a thief. It looks like he didn't have time to notice Hill, so she needs to slowly run faster, because he looked in her direction. When she started to offend, she noticed that the shoes made sounds and glowed in different colors. She didn't understand at all what a stupid gift this was from her father. And why now? This guy came up to her and asked her who she was. When she saw his eyes, she realized something. The guy suddenly fell to the floor. Hill didn't know if everything was okay, thought it was a joke, and asked what was wrong with him. Hill sat down next to the guy and checked whether he was breathing at all. She took off his mask. Golden hair and purple eyes, the same as the main character of this novel. This is the main male character, the owner of golden hair, violet eyes, and abilities that can be used to infiltrate the estate. But it's completely unclear why he would do this. According to the original story, he shouldn't have any contact with their family right now. On the contrary, he has to break off the engagement on the grounds that the Hillingtons have lost the certificate. Hill saw the light. She couldn't believe that this guy was the one who stole the certificate. Now it's clear why he will so confidently submit a petition to terminate the engagement. But if he came to steal, then it is unclear why he suddenly fainted. He looked at her and fell. Hill didn't know what she had done. The girl decided that he needed help. She only does this because he is the main character. Hill took him on her shoulder and began to drag him. The father noticed that the problem was Hill's blessing. She doesn't have a clear destiny. Sears had no idea what that meant or what her gift was. He doesn't understand anything at all. Hill is trying hard, but it's like something is following her. This is not a blessing. and the father already thinks that he should protect her even more. She is a very gentle child, so she is especially careful not to get hurt, but he was still so happy when she smiled while presenting gifts. No matter how many times you look, it looks incredible. My father is very interested in how Rose was able to come up with such a plan for the beauties. His children are real geniuses. Rose came to him and told him that his little sister was nowhere to be found, and she wanted to sleep with her. The father believed that she had gone for an evening walk again and called the baby to his place. Sears noted that it would be nice if Hill smiled and laughed so often. Rose asked her father if he was sad. Sears asked her in surprise why she thought so. Rose said that today is the day when Mother left them. The father said that she did not leave them. She brought her sisters into this world. He misses her, of course, but today is the day his sweet babies were born. For a father, there is no happier day in the year than this. Rose said that she loved him more than anything in the world, but her father said that she was lying because she loved her sister most of all. The father heard a sound. It was Hildea. He asked the baby not to move or go out. Rose promised to sit quietly, and he was supposed to bring his little sister, although he agreed with a smile and ran. Hill was very tired and fell to the floor. He's so heavy. If it wasn't the main character, she would have already thrown him out. It's good that the original had an episode with a dog hole, but it is still completely unclear why he fainted. Hill believed he had some hidden illness that was not addressed in the original. Since he is the main character, he should not die. She has not yet tried to use her gift on people. Still, it's better than just waiting. She began to try to heal him. She succeeded. Now she knew that it could be used on people. She was not happy to see him and never wanted to meet him again. It was hard for her to live without Gabriel. Hill understood that you needed to return quickly. Her father ran up to her and said that he was worried because he thought something had happened to her. The lady thought he would be angry. The Duke said that she frightened him very much, and it's very good that she's okay. That's all that matters. Apparently, her father really cares about her more than she thought. For her, too, this is the only thing that matters. In the next morning, Lilia told Mrs. Rose and Hill to get up quickly. Hill didn't quite understand why there was such a rush. Rose asked what was wrong, because she wanted to sleep some more. Lilia apologized and said that a guest had arrived who was not expected, so the estate was still on its feet. Hill didn't understand at all who came there, because all the servants were rushing around the estate. It was Gabriel who said that he needed to discuss with them a wedding between members of the Hillington and Belkias families. The girl's father thought it was already quite late, but Gabriel believed that now was the time. It was simply incredible. The time is right. This is a time convenient only for Belkias. Hill noticed that the same guy tried to steal the certificate yesterday to break off the engagement. And why did he come again? And he looks at Hildea. This is not just a quick glance. The father refused. Because that doesn't suit him. Without his daughter, these are not things, and he can do this if he wants, or if there is no reason for refusal. Duke Belkias said that he did not want to. He asked whether the Duke intended to obey His Majesty's orders. His Majesty the Emperor trusts the Hillingtons. Sears said that marriage cannot be in order. And it was Belkias who hesitated for so long. He said that he was worried about the position of the heir, so he was forced to postpone the wedding. The Duke of Hillington said that there is no longer any reason for further action in this direction, since all the necessary measures have already been taken and the situation is under control. Hill cleared her throat and stepped forward, saying that the preparation had taken too long, so they apologized. Her name is Hildea Hillington, and she is with her sister Rosariel Hillington. These two sisters are inseparable and always support each other in any situation. Now she was sure that she had not imagined it. He looks at her all the time. She couldn't believe that he actually remembered her. The Duke approached and bowed and said that he was glad to meet Milady. His name is Gabriel Belkias. The gentleman thinks that on the stairs they heard what they were talking about. His position is that since he has two daughters, he leaves the decision to the Duke. Hill didn't understand at all why things had turned out this way, and the knight would be glad if he gave him a chance to prove himself before he made a decision. As the Duke probably knows, he will soon be heading to the battlefield. Therefore, he asks him for permission to stay on the estate until he leaves. The Duke asked if he would calmly retreat if his daughters refused. He said that he might be restless, but he would retreat. Gabriel asked Milady Hildea what she thought about this. The lady didn't think her opinion mattered, even if he doesn't remember that she saved him. She didn't want him to look at her as an enemy. The Duke said that her opinion, of course, is taken into account. But Hill did not agree with this, because it had already been decided anyway. He will propose to Rose anyway. He said that the lady's opinion was still important to him. Hill asked her sister what she thought of her idea. Rosé, surprised by the question, asked what exactly the idea was about. The First Lady once again asked what she thought about this proposal. Rosé now realized that this guy wanted to stay at their house. He is also planning to get married, and the one he likes will marry him, but they can both refuse. Sounds fun. Rose asked what her sister thought about this. Hill noted that if she doesn't mind, then so does she. Rose approached the Duke, calling him brother, and saying that he could stay with them until it was time to leave. Hill noted that he was not bad. He doesn't insist, but rather begs. But this still doesn't concern her, because Gabriel will marry Rose anyway. The knight asked the gentleman why he made such a decision. Nothing will touch him. Born of a sword, he becomes stronger every day. He gains power simply by living in this world. Gabriel von Ellenbelkius was born with a blessing that brought him extraordinary abilities and a destiny full of mysteries and adventures. Well, nothing is perfect. The servant told the master not to be sad, because Lucky had gone to a better place. Gabriel asked what it meant to be sad. He couldn't feel. However, a miracle happened that day. At the sight of Lady Hillington, his heart was filled with trembling, as if beautiful flowers of emotions bloomed inside, coloring his soul with the bright colors of feelings. Gabriel asked if he was strange. The knight decided to answer honestly and said that it was so. He changed as if he had been struck by lightning. Gabriel noticed that perhaps their meeting was a kind of lightning. The knight asked what he was talking about. The Duke said to sign him up for an audience with His Majesty the Emperor. The Emperor understood, but why did he suddenly change his mind? The Duke asked whether there really should be a reason for this. Gabriel is going to do everything as he decided. After that, he decided to immediately go to the Hillington estate. The Duke ordered the luggage to be transported there immediately. The knight obeyed him. The servant asked why he wanted to move there with them, and he asked again if he had really forgotten about his procedures. After his secret invasion of their estate and sudden loss of consciousness, the Duke has changed a lot. He spoke about some angel, about his intention to marry Lady Hilda Hillington. There is some kind of double bottom in his decision, but the Duke told the knight once again that there is no double bottom. The Duke just wants to marry her, and if she refuses him, then he thinks that he will die at that very moment. The knight could not believe that his master could really fall in love with someone. Hill noticed that the air was so clean. The main character could only dream of such air in her past life. So calm. Hill did not know that Rosé ran away from class because she realized the beauty of such a pastime. Rosé told her sister to climb in with him, but Hill told her to get off because it was dangerous. But she said everything was fine, because she won't fall. Hill believed that she just needed to live as usual. The main character, Gabriel, decided to stay in their house, but that doesn't concern her. Even if it happened rather suddenly, it won't affect her in any way. Rosé smiles so brightly at him, he will definitely like it, and they will definitely get along. Hill doesn't understand at all why she isn't in pain. She noticed that she was sitting on His Highness. Hill stood up and asked Gabriel if she was okay. The knight asked my lady that she should leave. The main character hoped that he did not die. She really wanted him to just move. She hoped she didn't break her neck. Hill almost killed the main character again. The knights were shocked that their master came to his senses. The Duke asked what. The knight said that Mrs. Hilda fell from a tree on him. The girl understood that she needed to ask for forgiveness and ask if he was hurt. Hill did not understand at all what to do. She simply disappeared. Now it looks like she's the one waiting for an apology. Hill thought he would get angry and they would fight. She kept asking the gentleman if he was okay. But the Duke asked his lady if she was injured. She fell from such a height and needs to be shown to the doctor. Hill said she was fine. Gabriel was glad she was okay. He said that my lady should not climb trees. It's dangerous and she might fall. He was openly shaking, but he tried his best not to show it. She was very impressed. The Duke asked permission to take his leave. It's like he cares about her. It's as if he's saying that everything is okay, that there's no need to apologize. The first meeting was terrible, but now for some reason it seems to her that he does not hate her. The lady asked Lily where their guests were staying. The maid thought she couldn't stand them. But Hill said she doesn't think so, because it's not that bad. Lilia said that the guests live in a separate building. This means that they are unlikely to bump into each other just like that. Lilia said that if she wanted to visit them, she could notify Duke Belkius. But Hill was just asking. The lady turned to Lila again. She asked if Rose had become more active. She assumed it was because of the new guests. The house seemed to be noisier. Lilia said that the lady has always been like this, but Hill said she wasn't like that. After Gabriel's arrival, a lot changed in the house. For example, Rosé's actions. Hill seems to have her curiosity piqued. In recent days, she hardly sees her, and today she, obviously, also went to him. There was hope in Hill that everything was already so good for them. There was no major event in the novel that made them fall in love with each other. Their meeting was a mere coincidence, and only later did they learn about the arranged marriage. Their feelings were like a fire that had started accidentally. That's how they fell in love. Of course, there were conflicts and other incidents in the novel. The more Hill thinks about it, the more he wants to escape. She noticed that her sister really seemed to like the gentleman, and she added that it would be nice if he proposed to her right away. Lilia asked if her mistress really thought so. Hill agreed to this because her sister Rosé openly shows affection for him, and the Duke, apparently, is not indifferent to her either. Hill noted that there is love at first sight, and perhaps they are now seeing its birth. But they are both still so young. Hill told Lila that aristocrats get married early. Lilia said that all this seemed very strange to her. The lady behaved as if she had become a completely different person, as if she had been replaced. Everything about her has changed. The maid asked the mistress if she really wouldn't even approach him. Hill asked again. Lilia said that if this continues, then the bride will really become Madame Rosé. It's strange to her that Madame would so easily miss her chance. Hill asked what she was talking about, because it was even better. Duke Belkius was a very eligible bachelor, and she was not at all interested in him. Mrs. Hill was sure that their relationship could not have a future. Lilia talked about the time when she fell from the tree. After all, she knows what happened there. Hill hoped that evil fate will not come to them. She decided to end the conversation there. They went outside. Hill thought about how she almost killed him. She was absolutely sure that he would not choose her. He's not a fool or a pervert. It's so funny. Hill doesn't understand at all how she can even crave this and an engagement. Hill was scolded by his father for this. He told Hilde that she shouldn't climb trees because she might get hurt badly today. Hill understood. The Duke hoped that she would not do such things alone again. Hill told her father that she understood him. At the end, he said something strange. The museum was so scary when he scolded her in such a calm voice. Suddenly, the lady noticed that the Duke and her sister were sitting there. They were actually together. No matter how you look at it, they make a great couple. In a few years, Gabriel will return safely. She'll be a little lonely, because she is jealous like a person whose sister is taken away from her. But honestly, she's not 8 years old. She's like a child. But Hill decided enough was enough. Because she doesn't want to interfere with these two, she hoped her sister would try. Rosé said that her sister is very shy and most likely has a little difficulty with him. It would be nice if this were true. Gabriel said she assured him that she was ready to help. However, now the gentleman looks upset, as if something went wrong and the promised help was not provided. Gabriel asked the lady if she was Lady Rosariel. The girl said to call her simply Rose, and she will simply call him Gabriel. But he didn't want it. Such an attitude on his part will only complicate everything. Rosé asked if he wanted to get closer to her sister, and her sister can help her with this. But she will never forgive him for her suffering. The Duke asked when he had made Hildea suffer. Rosé screamed that he continued to pursue her even after she said she didn't like it. This is suffering. The Duke asked if Hilde told her sister that she hated him. Rose laughed and said that in fact, that was not the case, because she never talked about him at all. With these words, she simply killed him. He was very upset that she wasn't even interested. Rosé didn't understand why at all, but her sister constantly avoids this topic, and if he continues to impose himself, then His Majesty the Emperor will come and spank him on the ass. And the Duke should give her sister time so that she gets used to it and has the right to choose. The Duke noticed that she spoke differently, but earlier she promised to help him. Rose simply pretended that this did not happen, and she noticed that if her sister did not want to communicate with him, then she would not help him. Gabriel felt like he had chosen the wrong person. Rose decided to ask Gabriel why he liked her, and how much she believed that she was stronger than the stars in the sky. The Duke tried to say something, but Rose said that if he said that it was only because of her beauty, then she would pin his mouth with a clothespin. Gabriel felt something a while ago. As he speaks, he glances in their direction from time to time. The Duke is a little worried about what he looks like in their eyes, how they will evaluate him. Gabriel said that he liked her so much that his heart burst out of his chest. Rosé said that he was not sure of his feelings. Gabriel, a complete fool, doesn't know what he wants. He rushes around, not understanding what his heart really desires. Rose asked him what about the fact that when they don't see each other, his thoughts are only about her. The Duke agreed with this and said that when he sees her, he becomes happier, and when he doesn't see her, her appearance does not leave his head. And he never even thought about marrying Rose. The girl noticed that he spoke in such a way that his mood was spoiled. Rosé added that she also had no intention of marrying him and asked what else. He just needs to say it to Hilde's face. Time stops the moment Gabriel sees her. Such thoughts are a little sad. It seemed to him that Hildea hated him. Rosé noticed that he spoke so maturely, not at all for his age. However, the maids also told her something. If Gabriel falls in love at first sight, he shouldn't watch from afar. Gabriel must try to find out more about this person. There are some things my brother doesn't know for sure. Because he had never seen Hill's beautiful smile. Gabriel doesn't know, but Rosé sees her often, so he might be jealous of her. Rosé decided to tell her how to gently stroke her sister's hair when she sleeps. She likes it so much, and she said that she loved her more than anyone in the world. Gabriel must be jealous of her. Rosé said he was so unlucky, because he knows nothing at all about his little sister. The Duke understood that she was simply mocking him. He was advised to marry Rosariel because she is charming and innocent. But this is crazy nonsense. Gabriel approached Rose and decisively asked what her sister loved. After all, they met so that she could tell him this. Rose was shocked that he didn't even know the rules of life. After all, if he wants to get something, he must try. And so he behaves very arrogantly. The lady asked who was in despair. If he wants information about someone he likes, then he should ask someone who knows. And once again, she noticed that Brother Gabriel knows nothing at all about his sister. After these words, the Duke decided to ask what she needed. Rosé said it was great and added that her sister loves flowers and vases. She has about 10 pots of flowers in her room and she grows them. Rosé loves shiny jewelry and strives to have as much of it as possible. She loves it when everything sparkles and shimmers, adding sparkle to her image. The Duke reported that he was not particularly interested in the latter. She draws well and she has many portraits of her sister. There's even one where she's smiling. The Duke said that he remembered the brilliant decorations. Hill could not believe that she could meet the Duke in such a huge house. The lady asked how he was staying at their estate. Gabriel said that everything was great thanks to her, and he added that she could just call him Gabriel. There you go. Hill didn't want to see his sister's future husband in him. Hill said that if he had nothing more to say, she would go. If he's looking for her sister, she's probably in the garden. Gabriel barely said that he heard that she liked flowers. Hill didn't understand what he said and believed he was trying to befriend her, but for some reason he looks away. He tried to say something else, but he was interrupted by the lady's words that everything was true. In fact, Hill was testing her gift and therefore arranged the flower pots, but there seemed to be a misunderstanding. People asked why he was interested in this. Gabriel barely said that he was going to send a letter for her from the battlefield and Lady Rose too. The main character believed that he wanted to tell you to her sister, she told her. He even asks permission. He seems to like Rosé a lot. Hill thinks he is jealous and afraid that while he is on the battlefield, Rosé will have someone else. Gabriel finally got the hang of it and asked if he could send her a letter. Hill believed that this was not something she should give permission for, so she was completely unclear what he kept asking her. She agreed and noted that she thought it would all be wonderful. The main character thought that her sister would definitely jump around the room with happiness when she received a letter from him. Suddenly, the Duke became very flushed. Hill wasn't quite sure what this sudden change was, but I chalked it all up to some kind of allergy. He fainted not long ago, so it's normal. Perhaps he managed to visit the garden while he was looking for Rosé. Hill asked if he was okay. He grabbed his ears. After this, the lady decided that something was definitely wrong with him. His ears are already red. Hill was thinking about how to get him to the doctor as quickly as possible, and the Duke was desperately trying to say something. But suddenly, Hildea began to think about whether there were any plants in the garden to which she might be allergic. She couldn't believe that this stupid boy was embarrassed even by talking about Rose. It seems that this is indeed true. He says he is so in love with her. The Duke apologized to the lady and said that he does not always behave this way. Hill understood him, but she herself thought that for some reason this always happened to him in front of her. Gabriel asked if it was true. Hill even thought it was cute. Even though this love is not for her, Hill still feels her heart flutter. The main character could not be sure that she would one day meet a person who could love her so much. Hill told him not to worry anyway, because Rose will definitely like the letter. He asked if it was true, after which Gabriel asked why only Rose. Hill was shocked because she told this love-struck guy what he wanted to hear, and for some reason he looked so upset. Hill left because she had things to do, in fact, she left because she thinks it doesn't concern her at all. A priest approached Mr. Kreis and asked if he was meditating, at the same time informing him that the food is ready and he can go down. The gentleman noticed that time flies so quickly when you are immersed in your thoughts. He apologized to the priest Hamel. The priest was shocked by why he was only 12 years old, but he was already so righteous. The one who loves God the most, viceroy of God's blessing. The person who bestows the gift and blessing is the high priest Kreis. He is a very respected person. The priest added that a few days ago people from the palace visited him. He was interested in how everything went. Kreis was surprised that he knew about this. After all, he thought that only a narrow circle of people knew about it. The priest confirmed that he knew, but sometimes they make too arrogant demands, so he gets worried. He asked the priest who else knew about this. The priest asked again, and Kreis repeated once again that he asked who else knew about this. The priest said that no one except him, but he was wondering why he was asking. Kreis is happy that he is the only one. Hill woke up in complete horror. She did not understand at all what it was. It looks like she had a very scary dream. She told the lady that she needed to get ready to go out. Now Hill knew it was a damn boat ride today. Rosé invited her sister to go boating, and she asked it wouldn't be good if the three of them went. Rosé, Gabriel, and her. If Rosé had seen the expression on Gabriel's face at that moment, she definitely wouldn't have said that. Hill agreed. She said so. Gabriel smiled. Hill offered to go to the boat. I became a doormat, joined the conversation. She's clearly not thinking about marriage. She thinks so. It takes more effort. There's no interest now. This man just wants fucking Belkius out of the mansion. Well, good luck to the main character. Hill didn't understand at all why the boat was moving so slowly. She noticed that the Duke was not looking in her direction at all. She believed that was why the gentleman was so unpleasant. Hill really wanted to tell him that if he didn't like her that much, he might as well leave already. Hill said they were almost there. Suddenly the boat began to shake very violently, and the lady began to fall out of the boat. But the Duke grabbed her hand. Hill didn't understand at all why he was looking at her like he was worried about her. The servants looked into the mistress's room and realized that Mrs. Hilde's condition was only getting worse. And I wanted to think that something bad could happen. The servant said not to say that at all, because it could cause trouble. The maid said that in fact she did not like this Duke. They felt very sorry for Mrs. Hilde, because this Gabriel looks at the mistress without shyness until she sees. But as soon as she turns in his direction, he immediately begins to avoid her gaze. They believed that this behavior seemed to stress Mrs. Hilde. Despite having the gift, he still could not save his mistress, so the servants decided that if their mistress was so disgusting, then they need to make sure that he doesn't even touch her fingers. Rose thought that Gabriel should have saved her coolly, but in the end they fell together. She just hates it when her sister gets sick. Suddenly the lady woke up, and when she saw her sister, she jumped up. Hill asked Rose where she had been. Rosie told her little sister to be careful because she had a fever. She asked if Hill was hungry because she could bring her something to eat. Hill assured her that everything was fine, but Rosé might also have a cold, so she better go out. Rosé was angry because her sister was sick, and Gabriel, who also fell, was fine. Hill assured her that this happens. If you think about it, Gabriel is the victim here. Rose would be glad if her sister was healthy now. Rosé told her little sister that she was already leaving. Hill thought that if Gabriel were alone, he would be able to get out of the situation gracefully. It's all because of Hildia. So she decided that she would need to thank Gabriel because she didn't want to become a hindrance in her and Rosé's relationship. The servant told the lady to see that there was a record of entry, but no record of exit. Hill was grateful. They say that the first head of the Hillington family was crazy about books. He didn't have enough of his own office, so he built a library. This is such a huge room. Hildea did not understand at all how to find Gabriel. She had a lot of time, so she could have looked. The lady found the Duke. Gabriel was upset that Hilde was sick and he couldn't even visit her, but there is not much time. If Gabriel had saved her perfectly, who would have been able to admire her a little longer? The Duke really wanted to take away her illness. He sighed, and Hildea came up behind him, asking if something hurt him. Gabriel was shocked when he saw her. Hill admitted that she wanted to tell him something. The Duke was very frightened, and all the books began to fall. The ladder began to fall on them, and Gabriel covered Hildea with himself. The Duke noticed that a little more, and they would have been overwhelmed. Gabriel immediately jumped up when he realized that he had fallen on top of his mistress. He started to step back and got caught on the stepladder. He was about to fall, but Hildea grabbed his hand and thanked him. From the very beginning, she should have said this. The lady said that he had cut his forehead, but the Duke assured her that he was fine. Hilde believed that you made him feel uncomfortable because she was worried. Although this is correct, Gabriel was creepy from the very first meeting. But even if she was not destined to become a bride, Hildea would really like to make friends with him. Gabriel noticed that there was a mess all around and he would help her. Hildea was grateful to the Lord, but the guy said that it wasn't worth it because there was nothing special about it. Hildea really wished Gabriel didn't hate her. The whole house communicated with the Duke. The ladies said they believed Gabriel would bring peace to their empire. They wished him eternal well-being. Gabriel wished them eternal well-being and asked them to prosper as if they were blessed by the god of the wind. Hildea looked at him and believed that he seemed to be looking at Rosé. She believed that Rosé was standing behind her and waving his hand, wishing him a good trip. He looks at Hildea as an unpleasant person. Well, only she thought so. Gabriel hoped that Hildea would live in peace and tranquility. Hildea told the Duke to be careful. Hildea thought that her farewell was over, so she had to go, because it was Rosé's turn. But the sister didn't understand at all why Rose didn't go to him. And when she approached her, she heard her telling her in a whisper to turn around. Hildea was at a loss, because she did not understand at all if something was happening to her. Then she turned around and saw Gabriel. The girl didn't understand at all when he came so close. He said that he would send a letter for Hildea, and he will be very happy if there is an answer. The main character believed that in this way he was asking to write an answer, but why? Suddenly she thought that he was most likely asking her to give him news about her sister, and something he can't ask her herself. Hildea agreed and said that she would definitely send it to the Duke. Gabriel asked if he said that she should just call Gabriel. The girl believed that he always had such an expression on his face, as if he didn't like it. But he also asks for some reason. Rosariel asked to listen to her. The Duke was glad to see the lady. Hildea noticed that as soon as he looked at his sister, he immediately smiled. It was as if he saw his younger sister, with whom he shares a warm relationship. The knight informed the gentleman that it was time for them to leave. The Duke ordered to leave. All the servants obeyed him, and they quickly left the Duke of Hillington's estate. The day when Gabriel returns from the battlefield will come after 12 years. Then the main story of the novel Sweet Girl begins. Everything was as Rosariel had thought. Composition on the front side. The father called Rosariel and Hildea to come inside. Hilde didn't understand at all whether she could do anything at that moment. Everything was as the lady believed, did not like. Benjamin told his mother not to bite her nails. The lady told her son, Prince Benjamin, that if Gabriel married Hillington, then the heir might be in danger. But Benjamin himself knew about this, so mother should not worry because he himself will completely cope. Mom asked since when he became so meek. Can't hold a candle to that creepy Duke Belchius. Benjamin said he just wanted to be a good son to her. His mother noticed that he has a wonderful character, but he has to keep in mind that she didn't raise him that way, and he should not hesitate at the decisive moment. The prince agreed with her and noted that she should not worry so much. This guy will spend unknown years in the capital of the empire for me. Mother agreed with him because he said everything correctly. If Gabriel doesn't come back, the wedding won't take place. Benjamin must be patient a little, and then his mother will give him the great empire. But he must also try to make his mother proud of him. He must live for his mother. 12 years later, Gabriel knew that the end was coming soon. As soon as the leader is finished, the army will fall. The knight said that it was all thanks to his master. A few days ago, the master's arrow pierced the enemy commander. The knight noted that this would all end. Gabriel agreed with him. The man asked if this bird was the property of his master. The bird brought news about the strategy of the enemy army. When the gentleman read the letter that the bird brought him, he crumpled it and threw it away. The knight asked the gentleman what he read. He grabbed the sheet and decided to see what made him so angry. The man believed that the enemy had something that could turn the tide of the war. Duke Gabriel gathered all his soldiers and ordered them to listen to him carefully. The gentleman said that they would finish this war in a week, and then immediately return home. Everyone was in complete shock. He was so confused that he didn't understand at all what he saw. When he opened the sheet, he read that both Lady Hillingtons were nominated as debutantes. A debutante is an adult girl who is preparing to enter society. Girls who are going to appear at the debutante balls must find a partner. Gabriel couldn't let Lady Hilde go with someone else. He didn't understand why everyone froze and noticed that they had no discipline. The Duke ordered us to speak now. The war, which lasted 12 years, was ended by the Duke, who seemed to have gone mad with blood. The master forced them to capitulate. The youngest Duke to receive such great recognition, returning from the battlefields, a war hero. He had become the hottest topic of discussion ever since he returned from the battlefield. There are various rumors about how the Ghost Duke has changed. She most likely should now be called a war hero. Now it is obvious who favors his greatness as his emperor. The lady noticed that His Majesty the Emperor was very cruel. The Crown Prince is also trying very hard. He openly dismissed him at the Council of Ministers. If only this. As soon as Duke Belkius arrives in the capital, a huge ball will be held in his honor. In such a situation, the Duke's arrival will only worsen the atmosphere. The lady decided to ask what was going on with the Hillingtons. Everyone was very interested in whether one of these ladies would come to the ball with the Duke. The Hillingtons have changed too, since many years have passed. Therefore, Duke Belkius may change his mind. If the wedding suddenly fails, then there will be chaos in the bride market, because two enviable competitors will appear. The lady asked if this was all going on. Everyone was very worried about who would become the wife of Duke Belkius, one of the Hillington ladies, or a mysterious lady who will steal the heart of a war hero. Whoever it is will be interesting. The servant asked Lady Hilde if she liked this dress. The lady noticed that it was wonderful, but she would like to change the lace to something more voluminous. The Natalia belt looks too simple. The ribbon also doesn't match the color of the dress. Hildea asked Lady Rumi if she thought the same. Madame agreed with the mistress's words, and she noticed that Hildea copes just fine without her. Hildea was embarrassed and said that this was absolutely not true. She doesn't seem to believe her. Rumi had never said this to anyone before, and noted that she would never say anything like that to Lady Rosariel. And at the same time, she decided to ask when she could see Mrs. Rose, for example. But Hildea doesn't know this either, because her sister tells Hildea that you choose for her. Hildea tries to stop her, but she says that everything is fine. Rumi hoped that next time the lady would bring her sister with her. Hildea agreed to this. Suddenly, the lady remembered that Rosariel had told her that she wanted that dress. Madame agreed to everything. Hildea was very tired because there was so much to prepare before her debut. Not only for myself, but also for my sister. Servants entered the room and immediately apologized. Lilia asked the mistress why she was lying down like that. Hildea wanted Lilia to grumble like that to me about her and about her sister Rosariel. Lilia noticed that she grumbles at anyone who even listens to her. Hildea was shocked that she had completely given up on Rosariel. The maid said that only she, Mrs. Hildea, listens to her grumbling, and yet Hildea thinks her sister is charming. At some point she took a sword instead of a pen, and let her be clenching her fists more often lately than the sword in her hand. To Hildea, she is still as charming as ever. If Hill can understand it, then maybe Gabriel can too. She hoped everything would be okay. Lilia added that she received a letter again. Hilde didn't even want to look, because she thought it was even better. Lena asked if she didn't like the gentleman that much. Hildea asked again. The maid said that every time she sees a letter, she begins to frown. Everyone sees this. The servant said that if she didn't like it so much, then maybe she should throw it away. But Hildea said that there was no need to do this. After all, this is a letter from the Duke. The maid asked the lady to excuse her. She brought her small cactus. Hildea smiled because she didn't understand at all where he got it on the battlefield. The lady did not understand at all why her heart was trembling. She really hoped it wasn't the same feeling. If you remember the words of the fox addressed to the little prince, perhaps they are just trying to tame her. Hildea said that she was already used to it, but when the servants asked what this meant, she did not answer anything. By the way, Lilia added that this is most likely the last letter from the Duke from the battlefield. Hildea thought that she should have corresponded with him more. She's such a fool. Gabriel always sent her a flower in a small pot and a simple letter of greeting. She always looked forward to these letters, no matter how insignificant they seemed. Even if there was nothing special about them, most likely, it was all a matter of timing. She grew up without a mother, so everyone doesn't understand how she could have good manners. The lady heard that the second one is generally ignorant. When Hildea was difficult and lonely, the Duke told her that gossips are ordinary cowards. His words did not contain those same feelings, but strangely, they comforted Hildea. This kind of Gabriel, straightforward but kind, is just her imagination. The real Gabriel loves Rosariel, just like she did him. He sent her a small letter and a flower, and Rosariel sent huge sheets of writing and a bunch of precious stones. No matter how you look, it's immediately clear who he's attracted to, so if this feeling gets out of control, Hilde will have to disappear. The Emperor said that he did not like it. Her relationship with Gabriel can hardly be called warm, ever since childhood. He also has a fiancé. The Emperor said that this was not yet official. The princess noticed that there was already an offer anyway. It also contains a promise from His Majesty the Emperor. The Emperor understood that everything was getting more complicated. The Empress and Crown Prince are monitoring the situation. It's best to team up with Gabriel, who has gained a lot of influence. The Hillington sisters will be present at the congratulatory ball as debutantes. Everyone will only look at them, perhaps not even on the imperial family, but on them. The princess noticed that this was not very good. As a father, the Emperor thinks the same. Gabriel is very supportive of these sisters. Raphia should follow their example if she wants to get his attention. If she manages to get Gabriel's disfavor away from her, that will be enough. Rosariel came to her sister and said that Lilia told her that yesterday a murder was committed again. Hildea had absolutely no idea why her sister was even interested in such things. There are a lot of crazy people in the world, so stop thinking about it already. The most important thing now is a quick debut, but Rosariel thought it was too boring, and the murder is very shocking to her. She considered the capital of the empire and a safe place. Hildea still agreed with him. This incident does not suit the world of a light novel at all. Although the sweet girl that the main character read simply could not reflect everything, there could be something that was not shown to readers. Hildea told her sister that she was saying everything correctly, so she should not walk at night and be careful. Rosariel understood everything, so Hill was glad she answered, but she was very interested in why her sister grew up so free. Knowing Rosariel, she might rip her dress at the ball just because she doesn't feel comfortable in it. Hildea was convinced that this would not happen. Someone called Madame Rosariel, and she told her sister that it was time for her to go. "Because I need it for training. By the way, my sister asked Hildea if she had heard that Gabriel was returning, and she noticed that they had not seen him for a long time." Hildea did not understand at all why the name, which her sister pronounced so calmly, made her heart ache. In all his letters that he sent to her for 12 years, there was not a word about the hardships of the war. It was as if they were written by a person who went on a journey. Hilde is so awkward and clumsy. Sometimes it seems to her that his letters seem to be addressed to his first love, with feelings for which he does not understand what to do. But she is most likely mistaken. But she doesn't understand at all why his words about returning are addressed to her. The man noticed that an important guest had arrived. He greeted her, Mrs. Hill. He wondered how many pieces she had prepared today. 3 is enough. The man confirmed and added that if she had prepared at least 1, that would have already caused a stir. This time the black market will definitely be shaken. Next time you should count on the same amount. Hilde noted that such a sharp increase may raise questions, so no. The gentleman himself agreed with this. The more he looks, the more surprised he becomes. Hilde asked if he was talking about what she brought. This was exactly the case because it is so expensive. 2 years ago, Hildea came to Joseph from the Shadow Auction Guild. He asked how she knew him. The lady noted that she had her own sources. Joseph asked who she was. Hildea needs him. The man did not understand at all what she needed from him. Hill noted that more precisely she needed a favor. Hilde said it was hard to believe, but if he could sell some of the things she brought in, he would also make a lot of money. Joseph did not understand at all why the aristocrat needed the help of such a modest person like him. After all, she could turn to anyone. But she said that this is not so, because it is the shadow auction house that she needs, and she wants him to become her representative. Hildea's product is literally a cure for all diseases. Some aristocratic women noted that their skin became radiant and rejuvenated. There were also rumors that some aristocrat was suffering from some illness, which is not customary to talk about in society. Hildea told him to try harder this time too. He was always ready for her services. Today she was also able to leave without incident. Every time Hilda gets so nervous when she goes there. But he pretends that everything is fine, with the money that she managed to earn in 2 years with the help of Joseph. The main character can go anywhere. This is not a problem at all. Now she has no desire to leave. But no one knows what will happen tomorrow. Moreover, it was as if it did not exist in the first place. Hilda looked away and didn't notice how they started shouting at her to get out of the way. The knight said that his master had really gone crazy because he seriously decided to end the war quickly just because of the girl's debut. The Duke said that it was he who told him to acquire feelings, and now he is brazenly discussing his decision. But the knight did not want things to turn out like this. Now Gabriel can return. He really wants to see Hilda. He decided that when he saw her, he would personally tell her that he had returned. The Duke said that he could no longer do so and would go first, and they will follow when they finish. The knight was in complete shock. Gabriel asked if he had figured out what he asked him to do. The knight said that if he was talking about that mansion, then he sent a man there. He decided everything, but the knights are very interested in why he is asking about this right now. Gabriel ordered them to gather there as soon as they arrived because he won't be returning to the estate. Everyone was in complete shock when they saw the Duke. They asked him when he returned, but he did not listen to anyone. Gabriel suddenly realized that he couldn't appear in front of Hilda dressed like that, so he asked where the best clothing store was. The capital has changed a lot in 12 years. The Duke decided that he needed to quickly pick out a suit and then find Mrs. Hilda. And then he saw the horse fly at Mrs. Hilda. He quickly rushed towards her. Hilda, without opening her eyes, thanked her for being saved. When she opened her eyes, she saw Gabriel. The Duke asked if the lady was hurt. She felt the cloying, low voice, different from what it was 12 years ago. Not a cold and detached look, but a restless look. She didn't understand at all why he looked like he missed her. Hilda stood up and reported that she was fine. Gabriel also stood up and noted that you shouldn't get up so quickly because it could be dangerous. The Duke blushed and noticed that they had not seen the lady for a long time. Hilda herself agreed with this. The girl bowed to him and was grateful for his salvation. She was glad that her sister's fiancé had returned. Hilda said she didn't think they were supposed to meet like that. She is very grateful to him for his help, but now is not the time for them to formally welcome each other to the estate. Hilda quickly ran away and did not understand at all how they could meet like that. The capital is so big, and it was he who saved it. Moreover, as expected from the main character, he is incredibly handsome. Even in the novel, Gabriel was praised for several pages. Therefore, it's not surprising, but Hilda's heart is beating very hard. The war hero, who returned after victory only because of it, almost fell under the hooves of a horse. If he died, it would be a tragedy that cannot be laughed at. Hilda noticed that, as expected, there was a fatal connection between them. But anyway, now she ran away without solving anything. When they meet, they will at least need to thank him properly. When she arrived at the estate, she saw Duke Belkius there. She didn't understand at all why he was here. By chance, Gabriel's shirt came undone. Hilda was very embarrassed because I absolutely don't understand why he was undressing. Gabriel came closer and noticed that he wanted to tell her something in one direction and offer to go together. But her trace has already disappeared. Hilda didn't quite understand why it was in one direction. After all, she thought that the Imperial army had already returned, because the commander could not return alone. The Duke noticed that she decided too quickly, calling her Hill. She was very surprised because he only addressed her like that in letters, but telling him now not to call her that would be strange. Hilda decided to point out that she had not heard that the Imperial army had returned. Therefore, it is completely unclear to her why he is here. Moreover, in front of their house. Hilda couldn't believe that he could return alone, to which Gabriel asked why he couldn't do that. The lady was shocked that he was also asking. She didn't believe it at all that he fled here, violating the charter and rules. She wouldn't want Rosariel to be involved in such a scandal, Hilda asked. When he arrived, Gabriel almost said that it was about an hour ago, but he stopped and noticed that it was only recently. And he added that he did not rush here like crazy. Hill didn't quite understand what he was talking about. After all, he just said that he had just returned, or she heard wrong. But still, the lady decided that he could not, without greeting His Majesty, come straight to their house. After all, he can't be that crazy. She said that her sister was not at the estate now if he had come to see her. Mr. Gabriel said that he was not here to meet with Rosariel. This building was built by the head of the Hillingtons several generations ago to house his wife's parents, but now it is not used. Therefore, she is very interested in who her father could allow to stay there. The gentleman noticed Hildea and did not bow to her. Lydia was shocked that he just greeted her. The Duke asked if she minded, but Hildea did not listen to him, so she asked again. The gentleman said that he was going to stay here for a while. Hildea was shocked that he would not return to his estate. Gabriel noticed that it was closer to the capital from here, but Hildea noted that she didn't think that was the reason, because she believed that he just wanted to see her sister. Gabriel asked what the lady was talking about, because he couldn't believe at all that she found out. He figured that was why she was so angry. Hildea didn't understand at all when she got angry at all. Hildea denied everything because it had nothing to do with her. Gabriel asked again, and she confirmed it. Now she understood that he liked her sister so much that he even ignored the audience with the emperor and the victory ceremony. With every action, he seems to show how much he doesn't care about other people's reactions. Hildea already knows all this, but today her chest hurts especially. Hildea believed that this was indeed true, because whoever was staying at the estate would have nothing to do with her. Gabriel does this only for the sake of his beloved Rosariel, but in this case, she doesn't understand at all why he has such a face. The teacher told the lady that she was beautiful as always, so much so that she has nothing else to teach her. Hildea was grateful. The teacher noticed that her father must be very proud of her. Hildea's head is just a mess. The girl simply tried to give her best in different areas. Besides, tomorrow she will hear her blessing. When aristocrats have a child, they understand the essence of the blessing in general terms. But the exact content can only be learned at the debut of the aristocrats. Or, like Gabriel, when officially receiving the title. She again remembered the servant's words later that the Duchess died because of the first mistress's blessing. Rosariel came to her and asked if she was sleeping. After that, she asked if she could come in. Hildea allowed, after which her little sister jumped onto her bed. Hill told her to lie down normally. She was very happy, which made Hill smile. If in the future she still has to leave, her little sister will probably be very sad. Rosariel noticed that they would hear their blessings very soon. She is very scared, because there could be something frightening there, so she can't sleep because of it. Hill didn't think that the always cheerful Rosariel could worry about something like that. Hildea lay down next to her and said that this could not happen, because her sister's blessing will be the most beautiful thing in the world. Therefore, Rosariel need not worry. Rose didn't understand at all how this was even possible. Hildea said that this was possible because she was so charming and beautiful that she would definitely have a wonderful blessing. Everyone loves her. Rosé said that in this case, you will definitely be a wonderful blessing for her sister too. After all, they are twins. Hildea hopes so too. By the way, Rosariel decided to ask if she had seen Gabriel. Hill didn't understand at all why it was talking about him now. She noted that she had heard that her sister had met him, and she noticed that they had not seen each other for so long, so she was interested in how it felt. Hill had absolutely no idea what she was talking about. Rosariel said with a sigh that she was talking about feelings. After all, they had previously communicated only by letters, a whole 12 years. Hill didn't understand why the bride was asking her about her feelings and what kind of answer she wanted. Hilde said that she met him, but it was a chance meeting, and he was just a person for whom she could not have any such feelings. This way there will be no misunderstanding between them. Rosariel said that's not what she's talking about. She just wonders if Gabriel has become different, and my sister wonders if her first impression of him has changed. Rosé noticed that he had such a fire in his eyes. Hill did not understand at all what was wrong with her, although if you think about it, there are some changes. Gabriel grew up so handsome, but in reality he hasn't changed at all. It only became stronger. Hill had no idea why she remembered Gabriel so clearly. Rosariel noticed that he was so handsome, and so she wondered if Hill's heart beat faster when she saw him. The sister denied this. She said that Gabriel had done so much to come here, and Hildea was not at all impressed. Hildea was shocked that the commander could allow himself to return like this. This is simply incredible. Rose asked if this was true. Hill thought it might be too rude of her, but it doesn't look like she's in a bad mood. Rosariel thought about it and said that she thought the Hillington and Belkias families were quite close now, so much so that they could allow him to stay at their capital estate. Hill was shocked that her father thought so too. But she still doesn't understand. It looks like he wants to be as close as possible and not let go, but there hasn't even been a normal proposal yet. Because of all this, contrary to rumors, other aristocrats may think that they have a good relationship. Hildea believed that this would be both support and poison for her. She was very interested in whether the lively Rosariel would be able to resist the aristocrats in intrigue, but only with words, because you can't swing your fists. Hill suggested that Rose study even harder from now on. Rosé didn't quite understand why her sister was talking about this. Hill told her sister to stop making excuses for not attending class and to disappear. Hilde asked if she was sure that she would dance well at the ball. Rosé said that she simply wouldn't dance, and that's all. Was the girl asking seriously, or is she saying this? Hill thought that she might suddenly push him while dancing and he would fall, or Rosé will stand on his foot. Rose couldn't be allowed to be judged or worse because of this. In the original story, there were episodes in which she was kidnapped and tried in every possible way to break off the engagement. Hildea said that she could not allow this to happen, but her sister didn't quite understand what she was talking about. Warm like sunshine, Rosé. If it weren't for her, Hildea would hardly be able to live so happily here. She might not even be able to see her father. Even now their relationship is not the best, but still. Hildea told Rose that she would help her so her sister didn't have to worry. Hill loves her more than anyone in the world. Rosé said with a smile that she loved her too, and hoped that she wouldn't worry about anything either, because everyone loves her. Hildea was very grateful. Rosé always lies to her because he is afraid that she is worried about the fact that her relationships with people do not work out. Hill doesn't matter anymore, and everything is starting to get better. She told her sister that she was so kind. Rosé told her little sister that it was indeed true, and there was nothing to worry about. The Meal Empire benefited greatly from the blessings of the talents they bestowed. Therefore, it was a monotheistic faith in which everyone worshipped only the god who gives blessings and powers. Moreover, since the exact origin of the gods, the language of the gods again was not known to the general public. Long ago, it was predetermined who would understand, interpret, and pronounce the blessing. The high priest and the rest of the priests called the one god Tak, Yong Nim. The girl asked why this particular word and where this word came from and what it means. It is very difficult to pronounce him. The high priest did not know this. The children were shocked that there was something that the high priest did not know. The man said that this is because the language of the gods is very difficult for them to understand. They can only speculate, but cannot confirm them or say anything for sure. They all need to remember something. They all love their god. It's not good if they can't even pronounce his name. The priest asked if it was too difficult for them. And still the girl likes it. It's fun, because not everyone does, but listen to the high priest. The man noticed that this is a good answer. The boy asked Mr. Chris to listen to him. The boy wondered if he had ever been afraid to voice a blessing, because he is very scared. Girls are scared too. This is quite scary for everyone. Chris didn't understand why. He believed that it felt as if a person's fate was determined by his blessing. They are simply conveying God's blessing. It has never happened that they came up with a blessing themselves. If not, then Chris had absolutely no idea what to be afraid of. The boy became even more frightened. He said he heard people outside talking about it and was shaking very violently with fear. Chris said that it is impossible to say that these are wrong words. Not everyone believed in priests unconditionally from the very beginning. They are the same people, and almost no one believed that they could not deceive and distort God's blessing. Moreover, not everyone received it, and even if this happened, no one could say with certainty that a blessing would not turn into some kind of curse. But if you hide something like this, mistrust has taken deep roots. But the priests proved their innocence for years. As a reward for this faith, people gradually recognized that priests were unusual people, and the bushes speak only the truth. The blessings, they say, are always true, but there were still those who raised doubts. Therefore, they must always be careful, especially after one of them replaces him and becomes the high priest. The girl said that she also wants to become like Mr. Chris. After all, he has been in this position for 20 years. The boy also agreed, but they are still little priests. Chris pointed out that you shouldn't say that, but he really is very cool. At the age of 4, he brilliantly read his blessing, and a few years later, by universal consent, he became the youngest high priest in the world. Chris said something could happen to them. Therefore, a young priest should not make such a face. Because their fears are correct, this actually happened. The boy asked again. The year he became high priest, his predecessor was still in office. One child was born who at first glance had an ominous blessing. Rumors began to spread. The boy was outraged because the priest should not talk about the blessing. Chris said everything was right. The child's mother was very weak. Terrible events happened one after another in the mansion. It's immediately clear how others would react. Chris added that there should be no concept of an evil blessing in the world. Because this is the love of God, it just may not seem like it. But sometimes people interpret and accept words the way they want. People around blamed the poor baby. Her parents loved her, but she was unhappy. Therefore, the temple decided to bring her to these walls. This is all to purify the sinister blessing. The children were very interested in what happened to this child and whether the blessing was cleared. But that was not the case. Chris said that, be that as it may, that is why they need to be careful. Because people may misunderstand and then blame bad prophecy for all the troubles. She had already been here once. Therefore, he will definitely return someday. He is waiting for it. Temple treasure, Hildea von Hillington. Because he wants to see the child whom his predecessor tried to keep in the temple, even using force. And after confirmation, maybe Chris can make her a temple treasure again? The maid came into the room and told the lady that they had a very busy schedule today and needed to hurry. Hildea told Rose to get up quickly. My sister was shocked that it was already morning. Hildea was very happy that today had finally arrived, the day when the high priest will visit them. Everyone has gathered. The maid told the lady that the high priest was waiting for them in the drawing room. They need to go to him one at a time. The girls noticed that their father seemed to be worried too. Maybe he'll say something. But when he turned away, Hildea realized that he would not say anything. She doesn't quite understand why she feels a little upset. Rosé said she would go first, luxuriously blooming. When Rose hears her blessing, her cheeks will definitely turn pink with this joy. Hildea wants to congratulate her, well, if those rumors turn out to be true. The maids approached the mistress and told her to breathe more calmly. Hildea immediately apologized when she realized everything. She is the eldest, but she acts like a coward. She believed that everyone would think that she was now showing her shameful side. The maid said that Mrs. Rosariel would soon be out, of course. All this was very exciting, but not painful. Therefore, Hildea need not worry, but the lady herself believed that it could be painful. Very painful indeed. Cs von Hillington had a bad relationship with the former high priest. Chris is not interested in the incident related to the temple and the Hillington family. Rosariel entered the room and greeted the high priest. Today he has another, even more important goal. The man said that she could call him Chris. The girl was shocked that he knew her name. He knew that this was the second daughter, Rosariel von Hillington. Unlike the eldest, she has a very bright character. But one cannot say that she is overly lively and eccentric. This means that the rumors were only partially true. Rosariel wanted to quickly find out what kind of blessing she had. No one has ever shown such an attitude towards this process. Chris suggested we take a look. When they held hands, he felt something strange. He immediately said that her blessing was a luxuriously blooming one. Rosariel was very grateful and at the same time asked if she could go. There are two types of reactions to blessings. Joy, as if the whole world had fallen at the feet of a person, or despair, as if everything had collapsed. Strange, it was as if she had heard something obvious. Rosé asked him to take care of her sister's blessing. Chris added that he always does his best to convey the blessing correctly, so she doesn't have to worry. Rosé said that she would call her sister. Finally, the one whom the former high priest sought, the treasures of the temple. When Chris saw her, he was shocked and did not understand what it was. At that time, Lily's father asked her what she thought about it. He didn't know at all what would happen if Hill got upset. He didn't understand what he had to say. He considered himself such a coward. Lilia said that the high priest said that there are no evil blessings. But even so, the previous high priest kidnapped the lady. Only thanks to some people who kidnapped Hildea from the temple, the father was able to return his daughter, under the pretext that they could not protect her. But Elizabeth died without ever seeing their girls grow up. Lilia asked why he didn't talk about this before, since he was so worried. The gentleman asked Lily if she knew how to relax her facial expression. The maid said it was not so easy to do. The Duke asked what about no emotions at all. The maid didn't quite understand the meaning of this. Sometimes when he sees Rosé, a smile appears on its own. But it's only for Rosé, and for Hildea, it's probably better to have no emotions at all. Lilia said that if she smiled, the girls would naturally like it. Above all, the father hopes Hill will be happy with her blessing and walk out with a smile. A person who does not appear at all in the original is the high priest. This is the first time Hilde sees someone so beautiful. He's more handsome. Why are many of the actors she saw in her previous life? However, she doesn't quite understand why he is looking at her so intently. She didn't want to think that even the priests hated her. Even though she was used to this, it was still unpleasant. Chris heard only silence, so he asked if she wanted to know her blessing right away. They can postpone this moment. Hilde wondered if everyone was asking this. She doesn't want to hear, well, it could come up at any other moment. For example, blessings may be announced at the debut. Hill said he was kind. Chris was surprised and asked if she was talking about him. She confirmed this because now he is giving her a chance to escape. She knows everything they say, people. But Hilda doesn't want to run away at all and really asks the high priest to tell her. She wants to hear. The priest noticed that this was simply amazing. He asked her to just call him Chris. Hildea's blessing, no definite destiny. She was very surprised and did not immediately understand what it meant. Hilde didn't want to believe that it had anything to do with her being a person who wasn't originally in the novel. This means that she is not destined to live in this world. But Chris said that's not the case. He didn't know what she was thinking, but he doesn't think it's true anyway. The girl noticed that she was living with such a kind person. He asked her to simply think about the meaning of the blessing. Its interpretation depends on it. You can definitely guess the true meaning of the original blessings just by hearing them, but the meaning of blessing Hill. The girl said that he consoles her. Chris was surprised and asked again. Hilde confirmed this by the fact that he continued to say nice things. Just a minute ago, she felt as if she was drowning. Hilda did not understand what to do. But everything turned out to be not so scary. It seems that all this is thanks to the words of the high priest. Hilda promised that she would think about the meaning of the blessing, what it was. Chris noted that this was just great and asked if he could call her by her name. The mistress said that he could do this if, of course, they met again. As much as you like. Chris walked and thought about why he did this and behaved this way. He had never looked for speech before, but this time he was talking about something completely incomprehensible. And what this girl answered is perhaps a hidden talent. Chris can't think of anything. The original plan was to have Hill, which could be destroyed with a simple touch, and those who managed to escape from the temple ended up in his hands, and for the sake of his revenge. But her eyes. The moment their gazes crossed, Chris seemed to be caught in a vortex. It's like he's been replaced. The high priest did not understand at all who this girl was. She heard the blessing and her eyelashes trembled slightly, and then he said all this. The emperor said that Duke Belkias upset him because he did not visit the palace, but went straight to the Hillington estate. The ruler did not understand why there was this urgency, because he was not afraid to throw away his good name like worn-out shoes. Judging by his tone, the emperor changed his mind, and he doesn't want this marriage anymore. Gabriel said the air was burning and he was suffocating. Unfortunately, recent years have been difficult. Therefore, he thinks that this is enough and there is no need to test his trust. The emperor asked if he was going to answer his last question. Gabriel said he was in a hurry, but the ruler did not quite understand why. Gabriel won and did all this in order to get closer to what he wanted, so he asks if he can't get what he wants now. The emperor believed that he wanted a wedding. The emperor asked if Gabriel had forgotten that he was going to give this place to him. But even if he gives, he will not accept. Gabriel repeated once again that he did not need it. There must be someone else who might be interested. And he is just a simple duke who knows his place and is not devoid of conscience. The emperor noted that this does not mean that such a thing is impossible. And he doesn't understand how a person who understands all these subtleties can renounce the throne and talk such nonsense. But Gabriel knew that he always led the conversation in this direction. He said that the journey had tired him and asked when he could leave. The emperor said that he had shown his rudeness more than once or twice. Gabriel acts like a bear hiding a jar of honey. The gentleman asked whether he should pretend that everything was normal, despite his knowledge. Gabriel dared and said that he would do anything but not her, because he might go crazy, and who knows who might be bitten by a rabid dog. The emperor asked how about marrying the princess. Gabriel noticed that he was abusing his power. The old man has gone completely crazy. Gabriel added that if he had nothing more to say, he would go. He didn't know what trick he was going to use. Marrying a princess is complete nonsense. The princess came up to him and noticed that they had not seen him for a long time. Princess Rafia. The lady noticed that she almost walked past him. He has changed so much that it is impossible to recognize him directly. Gabriel really wanted to return to the battlefield right now. The princess asked him to wait and ask what he was doing now. The Duke said that he did not know her. The princess asked in horror what he just said. Gabriel doesn't know who she is, but it's very rude of her to get in his way and prevent him from passing. He hopes that she understands him. He also has an important meeting, so he takes his leave. When they were children, the princess mocked him and tormented him. To some, her action may have seemed like ordinary pampering, but he was not at all amused. Today, he never saw his beloved. Princess Raphia was simply horrified and did not understand how he dared to neglect her. Duke Gabriel pulled himself together and asked his knight if he looked okay. The servant knight said that it was simply wonderful, and added that any girl seeing the master would be delighted. Gabriel asked how many more suits were left. The servant informed him that this was the last one. In his opinion, this is the best of all, but no matter what Gabriel puts on, it doesn't suit him. And Rosariel told him something. Hilde likes guys with broad, strong shoulders. He thought that Hill hated him, so he should appear in front of her at his best. The Duke asked if there was anything that emphasized the shoulders. The tailor said that the suit he is wearing now best emphasizes the line of the shoulders without exaggerating the effect. Gabriel understood that nothing could be done and decided to stop there, and he ordered everything else to be sent to the specified address. The tailor asked if the address was correct. Gabriel didn't understand what was going on, after which the tailor said that it was nothing and thanked him for his trust, and he said that they would deliver the ordered clothes intact and safe. Gabriel was grateful. There was big news everywhere. The war hero has returned, and he stayed at the Hillington estate. The knight said that his master was doing something that he would not have even thought of before. It seems that the spring exacerbation is affecting him much more strongly this time. The Duke ordered to be quiet, and he asked since when Diane became so talkative. The knight asked when else he would have the opportunity to see such an unusual side of the gentleman. And he's been a lot less angry lately, especially when it comes to ladies. He couldn't miss such a chance. Gabriel noticed that it seemed that some people wanted to return to the training palace. Diane did not think that immediately upon arrival the gentleman would live next to the lady. Gabriel tried so hard, but in all this time he never met Lady Hildea. Diane is probably trying to say something similar. Still, Gabriel agrees with this. Hello, their separation lasts much longer than all their meetings. The Duke doesn't know what to do. Diane asked what he was talking about. If the gentleman tries again and again to impress her, then he is not sure that he will succeed. He really wants to tell her that he loves her and get the same answer from her. But now it seems somehow unreal to him. Diane noted that the first thing is to know each other better and get closer. But Lady Hilde is indeed very quiet and reserved. It's difficult to approach her. The Duke asked if she was quiet. Diane confirmed. She's quiet because she doesn't have any friends and isn't really close to anyone. He even keeps his servants at a distance. It's like she's a person who feels good alone. Hilde really looks lonely. The knight said that he tried to find out something, but it did not work. She seems to have only one close person, and that is Lady Rosariel. The Duke asked if Diane would believe him if he said that he was jealous of Lady Rosariel. Diane grinned and agreed. It was a good idea for Hildea to remain vacant in the capital's estate, but convince her father. This turned out to be a serious problem. It was impossible to do without Rosariel's help, so he had to literally shower her with jewelry. It took 12 years to persuade her. But Rosariel can be next to Hildea without any effort or conditions, but Gabriel cannot. He didn't know at all what it was like to have a relationship with someone who was nearby without promising anything. Definitely, as soon as the Duke looks into Hildea's eyes, he will immediately drown and become confused. He will seem pathetic to her because he won't even be able to utter a word. If he could take her hand and kiss her politely, he would be the happiest person in the world. The Duke asked Diane to tell him how to make him fall in love. If he knew, you wouldn't continue to be single. Gabriel noticed that he was of no use. Diane was simply furious because he had listened to all his experiences, and then the gentleman told him this. The Duke even read several romance novels, but everything was too simple. Expensive jewelry and desired gifts. Luxurious perfume, a date in a wonderful place, letters with sweet and gentle words. At first, it was difficult to write even one line. For the first time, he decided to do this there, during the war. And there he encountered disdain. Why, he is such a young commander. Nevertheless, he tried to write. But he was very upset when he found out that Hildea did not read them right away and put them in a drawer. However, the very fact that she did not throw them away gives him hope. He really wonders if Hildea is happy. Does she have any problems, and is no one making fun of her? Some ladies came up to him and asked him if he had time for a walk. The second lady asked if she could find out his name because it seemed to her that he was her destiny. The Duke drove them away. He decided to walk because his clothes might get wrinkled in the carriage. But if Lady Hildea saw him now, she would definitely run away. Diane asked the gentleman if his efforts would be rewarded today. Gabriel confirmed this because today everything is different. Because Hildea finally allowed me to see her. Hildea did not understand at all why she did this. The girl thought that she should change the answer now. She told Lila that she would refuse. The maid asked if it was possible to refuse like that over and over again. Hildea said that even if she met Gabriel, they would have nothing to talk about. But they live in the same estate. Sooner or later they will collide with each other, and Lilia believes that this will cause discord in their relationship. Come to think of it, they live very close. Gabriel sends her letters. And the fact that he asks her permission to meet. This is so funny. He was even allowed to stay in the mansion, so that he could see Rosariel at any time. But why, when he wants to meet with her, does he ask permission? Hildea believed that Duke Gabriel was mocking her like this. The lady was indignant, and began to think that this was all due to the fact that she had deceived herself with the feelings awakened by this letter. Hildea decided that she needed to ventilate, because all this was due to the fact that she was always at home. The girl noticed that the tree had grown a lot. She believed it was because she visited the garden when she had free time and used her powers here. This tree is taller than the others and seems to have denser foliage. Here, Hildea fell on Gabriel and nearly killed him. Not to say it was a particularly good memory, but he asked if she was okay and if she was hurt. These were probably the first kind words from Gabriel. Hill was thinking about trying to climb it for the first time in a long time. She will make the same mistake and not fall as she did then. Besides, due to business outside the estate, Dad and Rosariel are not here right now. That's why Gabriel's request for a meeting seemed even more strange to her. The view from the tree was very beautiful. If you think like that, after learning about the death, she also rose somewhere. The main character didn't quite understand what she was thinking about then. Hill's foot slipped from the branch and she began to fall. This time again the head. Hill is very interested in what would happen if she fell now. There is no one here now who can save her like then. This time Gabriel caught her again. The Duke believed that he must have misunderstood, and after all, it is not polite to arrive at the meeting place at the appointed time. A maid approached him and asked him why he was already here. Gabriel turned away and said that he would come later. If the matter is connected with Hildea, the Duke becomes unfocused. I'm ashamed of myself. He approached the tree and noticed that Hildea had once fallen from it, which allowed him to see an unexpected side of her, and something that he would never want to see again. However, he is shocked that the tree has grown so much over time. It looked like someone was using a plant-related ability on him. When he looked up, he saw Hildea there. Hildea was very ashamed. She didn't understand at all why it was him and why her heart was beating like that. She really didn't want him to understand everything. And for some reason, Gabriel won't let her go. The Duke noticed that she was wearing home clothes, and climbing a tree in a dress is a dangerous activity in itself. The lady tried to say something. Gabriel noticed that if he had not passed here, something really bad could have happened. Hildea agreed with him, because this was the second time she was serving from the tree, so even if she asked him to believe her, he would think it was a lie. Gabriel was very worried, because the lady could have been very seriously injured. If she did get hurt, then he would be very disappointed. The lady asked him to put it on. Hildea noticed that his hand trembled, but she considered this impossible because he is a man of will who returned from the war, having passed all possible tests. Most likely, he again thought that Hilde was stupid and immature. She climbed a tree. It was just a momentary impulse. And by the way, his fingers are thinner than Hildea thought. The skin seems hard and rough, but in appearance it is soft and beautiful. The war has tempered him. He has a military bearing. Hildea noticed that he and his clothes were especially handsome today, as if he were going to a ball. After all, Gabriel came today to meet Hill, not Rosariel, so she doesn't understand at all why he got dressed so quickly. She already believed that he had just arrived from the palace. Then this is probably formal wear. Suddenly the girl thought about where he was looking. Then I realized that she was standing without shoes. Lilia said that in the Meal Empire, you can only walk barefoot next to your lovers or spouses. And he saw everything. Hildea knew she had to leave now. She bowed and thanked the Duke for his help. Because of her, he almost got hurt again. The Duke said that everything was fine because she was as light as a feather. Gabriel decided to ask why this happened. Hilde reported that she had just heard something strange. Perhaps she imagined it. The Duke said that the lady might have wounds on her legs. He noticed that if she allowed, he could watch it. Hill was very embarrassed and did not understand what he just said. This crazy man, it's indecent to even just look at the bossy legs of a young aristocrat, and he was going to look at them. It was mean of him to hope for beautiful clothes and create a good image, but now it is destroyed. However, Gabriel, like a fool, said all sorts of things to her and hugged her to catch her, but she is so light. And weak, he was even scared. But despite all this, he was incredibly happy when he hugged her. And yet the Duke does not know at all whether he can fix everything. Gabriel just wants to fall into the ground. Hilda told the Duke that everything was in order, and she also had shoes. And it's very close to the estate. And Hilda believes that examining her legs would not be entirely correct. She's so cute. Diana's words that he had not seen her for a long time, and therefore idealized her in his head, are complete nonsense. See Hilda in front of you. Gabriel is so happy that he is ready to wash his father to die. The Duke pointed out that it must be difficult for her to go, so she can lean on him. If she gives him a chance, he will be very grateful. Hilda refused because the Duke did not need to do this. She doesn't have any wounds that would prevent her from walking there on her own. This is the same facial expression she always shows him, but he still wants to see her, wants to see her feelings for him. Gabriel wants to make sure that the feeling that they have become closer, developing over 12 years, is not just his delusion. The Duke asked if they were close enough for her to call him by name. Hill can safely call him Gabriel. It hurts him that she continues to reject everything, and if she allows, he will contact her the same way. Just Hilde. In fact, he wants to call her Hill. Gabriel said that if she continues to resort to formalities during their meetings, then the Duke will have to remind her of this until she rejects them at least partially. Therefore, it is better to address him less formally. Hilda believed that this was the reason why he wanted to meet her today. Gabriel really wanted to ask her mistress not to avoid him. Suddenly, a maid ran up to them. Cian was looking for her because the lady had not returned. Hilda apologized and said she was going. Hilda said goodbye to the Duke and noted that they would see each other at dinner. Soon they will be able to see the ghost Duke from the rumors. People were happy that they would finally be able to see those same Hillington twins. The ladies asked Her Highness what she thought about this. The mistress noted that the most important thing in a debut is the first dance and partner. The princess said that a lot depends on who becomes it. The lady asked what about Her Highness. All the girls' attention is now focused on her. And since the princess is the most noble lady, her partner will obviously be His Majesty the Emperor. The lady believed that this might be the person who would become an example for everyone in the Meal Empire. It would be wonderful if his partner for the first dance at the debut was the most noble lady of the country. The princess agreed with them, and I asked if he was really such a significant person. The princess said that she could still understand them. If something is valuable, then it suits her, be it a gem, an item, or even a person. The ladies were talking among themselves. Something was wrong with those twins. Shameless. They seduced the Duke and forced him to stay in his capital mansion. They say it's true. The ladies saw all of Duke Belkias' clothes brought to them. This is too provocative and arrogant. In addition, you are rumored to have an ominous blessing from the eldest sister. The princess asked her to tell her in more detail. People say their mother died from this. As a family, the owner of such an ominous blessing dares to communicate with the Duke of War at all. Everyone thinks this is wrong. The princess laughed and noted that in this case she should separate the two. Nothing interesting has happened to them for a long time. The princess hoped that Hillington could give a worthy rebuff. The ladies said that this would probably happen, but the princesses should not interfere personally, because the people loyal to her will take care of everything. The princess was shocked by their devotion. Hilda sat at dinner with Gabriel and didn't understand how much longer he would stare at her like that. Rosariel is nearby, so the First Lady doesn't understand why he doesn't look at her. Suddenly, Rosé decided to ask her sister if she had decided on a partner. Gabriel did not turn and said that if she was looking for a partner. Hill didn't understand at all why he cared about this, so he also looked at her like that. The father noticed that he really hadn't thought about it at all. The Duke asked if Hilda had someone on her mind. Hill denied that Rosé deliberately started this conversation. Hilda told her father that it was not that important, because they still have so much to prepare, and she doesn't think it's something that should be discussed at the dinner table. My father didn't understand at all why she said that. After all, this is the first dance, and it cannot be considered something unimportant. Dance is the most important part of the debut. He, like her father, is to blame for putting her before a choice. Hilde really wanted to tell her father that I was already very uncomfortable here, because Gabriel had been having dinner with them for several days now. Her father noticed that she also stopped dancing. If it goes like this. Gabriel began to cough. The Duke said that if he was not feeling well, he should have called a doctor instead of coming to dinner. Gabriel didn't hear anything. He thinks parents who are obsessed with their children are not doing a good job. The main character did not quite understand what was wrong with them, and she should decide about a partner. But Hilde simply doesn't need it, and so it's in the midst of all this turmoil with the marriage proposal. Therefore, Hill does not want her partner to be discussed either, and she doesn't have anyone in mind. Gabriel will become Rosie's partner, but Hilde needs to decide for herself. In fact, she wanted to ask her father, but Hill doesn't think he can help her in this matter. Hildea turned to her father and agreed with his words that she had not yet chosen a partner, but there were enough candidates. The father was simply in shock. Hildea didn't understand at all why he was so surprised, because she received many offers. She thinks that her counter letter of agreement will be answered immediately, so he shouldn't worry. Suddenly, Hildea heard a crash coming from Gabriel. Father asked horrors who dared. The girl didn't understand at all why he was angry. Hildea asked her father if he was angry, but he denied her words because there was no reason for it. And he asked again, as she said there is no partner, but there are candidates. Hill was sure that he knew that she was searching, so it was completely unclear what was wrong with him. Hill confirmed that she has candidates. For Rose's sake, she collected a letter from those who could benefit the family. Moreover, if she does have an arranged marriage, it is better to choose someone worthy and with good character, not now. Suddenly, Hildea noticed that Gabriel was very angry. She didn't understand at all what this fierce look was all about. She decided not to even look at him. The lady said that if the father does not like the candidates, then she would rather go alone without a partner. When she looked towards Gabriel, he was simply disappointed. A second ago, he seemed ready to kill, but now he's so upset. Her father, in shock, asked if she was going to go alone without a partner. Hildea confirmed that this was her intention. But the father does not understand at all why she is doing this. Hill was upset that he was angry again and believed he didn't like what she said. It seems like if she doesn't end this conversation, there will be chaos. Perhaps he was somehow upset by the guest's behavior. Hilde wanted to say something about her sister's partner, and she immediately started jumping up and down and saying that she wanted to say something. Sister Hildea is always so bright and cheerful. When she looks at her, her lips curl into a smile of their own accord, and she thinks that none of her have, and Gabriel's gaze is definitely also directed at Rosariel. But when she looked in his direction, she realized that he was looking at her again. Rosé said that if her sister went on her own, then she would too. Hildea in horror asked Rose what it was saying. Rosé noticed that for some reason Hill was allowed, but didn't understand why she couldn't. The girl told her sister that she was different. Rosa asked her in bewilderment why she was different. But she has Gabriel, and that's why she doesn't understand at all why she needs to go without her fiancé. Rosé told her sister that they would do just that. Hildea understood that nothing could be done about Rosé's insistence, but I still thought it was wrong. Gabriel must stop her. But when Hill looked in his direction, she saw that he continued to eat with such a satisfied smile. Hildea didn't even know what to say. Rose just said she wouldn't go with him. Hill, while walking, thought that no one would stop her. It is easier to bridle a wild horse than to break her sister's stubbornness. She recalled Rosé saying that if she didn't take her choice of partners seriously, then Rosé would go alone too. Hilde was very interested in why everyone reacted so strangely to her words about her partner. She figured, so she should have gone out earlier. In secular society, it is customary to establish connections between families even before debut. Therefore, boys and girls of her age often meet at various events. Someone has already formed a confidential circle of themselves. Thanks to the original, she already knows that a society whose guts come to the fore will split into pieces. But the main character does not want to join any of them. Hilde simply doesn't need it. After all, it is her sister Rosé who is the main character of this novel. If anyone wants to harm her, either God will punish this scoundrel or a person will appear who will save Rosariel. So Hill came to focus on himself. They are trying to fit into society. In the original, there was only Rosé, but now there's also a twin, that is, Hill. In the eyes of others, she is still a candidate to be Gabriel's fiancée. Therefore, setups cannot be avoided. Most of all, she should fear the Empress and the Prince, and also be wary of the Princess and the Emperor, as they can hide their true intentions behind a mask of nobility and use their position to achieve hidden goals. Suddenly, the girl noticed Gabriel. She didn't understand at all why he came here. Hill hoped he didn't see her. Gabriel said he knows I'm uncomfortable around him. Hildea herself was shocked at what she was expecting there. The same hateful expression as 12 years ago. It seems that the letters that some people exchanged all this time meant nothing to him, and she's a fool for being fixated on them. Hill noted that this was not Rosé's wing. Gabriel asked if she thought that he did not know this, or if she thought that he had come to make fun of her. Hill asked what he was talking about. Gabriel noticed that she didn't even want to know why he wanted to talk to her so much. Gabriel asked Lady Hildea to ask him why he wanted to see her. Hill thought about why he said that. She couldn't believe that there had been a love quarrel. And that's why they didn't want to be a partner at the ball either. She was also dragged into this. The main character did not understand why her heart was beating like that. It's even strange. The Duke understood that she did not want to, so he took a knee and hoped she would at least accept that. Hildea had absolutely no idea what he was doing. It looks like an ordinary box. Gabriel asked her to look before making a final decision. He asks a lot. Hilde wondered if this was even normal. He pulled her by the hand, and she leaned against him. The main character's heart is beating so much, and she does not understand what is wrong with her. When the lady saw this, she asked Gabriel if it was magic. The Duke confirmed this. The girl didn't understand at all why he was giving it to her. Gabriel asked if she would accept it, to which Hildea asked him why, because she did not think that he would prepare such a gift. Gabriel was confused and asked if she liked it, but that's not the problem. Hildea asked why he was giving it to her. The Duke asked if it would make her feel better if he said that he had also visited Lady Rosariel. The girl believed that there was no need to give it to her. Gabriel noticed that this purchase was not a momentary impulse. She shouldn't worry. Yes, I am not a particularly expensive thing, and it has almost no value, and he hopes that this will not burden the lady in any way. So awkward. The Duke offered to help her up. Hill was grateful to him. It must really seem funny from this side. Hildea put it around her neck. Gabriel was simply in shock. The lady was grateful for the gift and grace. And she noticed that Rose probably really liked it too. She really loves shiny gems. Hildea noticed that he sent a lot of jewelry to Rose. The Duke said that the jewels are just parcels for you. The girl thought that it was probably not so easy to do something like this during a war. Hill believed he was asking for the meeting to give her the necklace. The main character was very interested in whether it had some secret meaning that she did not know about. Maybe it's similar to the necklace he sent to Rose. Probably they are different to me. Hill noted that it will be very soon, so she congratulates him. The man was shocked and asked if she was really congratulating him. She knew that the end of her wait to meet Gabriel was just around the corner, although before that he will have to go through a huge number of trials and difficulties. Hildea did not know what would happen to her when this happened. She will lose her little sister, and a pen pal with whom I was so close. Hildea noted that she was also really looking forward to this. Therefore, he does not understand at all why he decided to abandon the partnership. Gabriel had absolutely no idea what he was talking about. He never expressed his proposal to appear at the ball together, so Rose did just that. Gabriel couldn't believe that the lady was really expecting this. Hill asked if she should. Not having a partner for the first dance can cause rumors and problems. It's easy to regret this decision. If he asks again, she may change. Gabriel wondered if she regretted it. Hill wanted to answer that he was addressing her sister. Hildea was grateful for the necklace and the pleasant conversation. Well, it's late, so it would be a little impolite to continue the conversation. Gabriel very much asked you to forgive him for this. Hill wanted to talk to him so badly. Tell her how grateful she is for the words of consolation that he wrote to her in his letters. Hildea told him to go home. Now Gabriel understood that there was not a word of lies in those letters. Everyone says that Hilde is a smart lady who does not suffer from loneliness at all. But despite this, in the letters she looked lonely, and this smile was not at all similar to the one in the picture. The Duke really likes this smile, her expression. Gabriel was very glad that Hildea did not despise him. In this case, he decided that he should be her first dance partner. He tried to remember what she said about the invitation and decided that he needed to find out more about these candidates, because he must make sure that no one asks Hildea to dance. Hildea believed that this was some kind of joke that was known to people in high society, but unknown to her. Rosariel asked her little sister what she was doing so hard to express such a serious expression on her face. The girl was surprised that her sister came so quickly. Rose noticed that she was already done with her midday workout. At the same time, Rose decided to show off her muscles, her beloved sister. She didn't think that now was the time to show off her muscles. Hildea told her not to brag and to come to her. One man suddenly broke his leg, another his wrist, and another fell down the stairs. Rose asked her sister if these men were candidates for the role of her partner. Hill said it was true, but all these letters appeared so suddenly. Because of Rose's words, she decided to look at the invitations again. And then I chose a few and wrote as a possible candidate. And in response to Hildea came this. Hildea believed that in this way, they were trying to justify their refusal. Even if these letters are true, it seems that all this happened because she asked them to come with her. She believed that everyone thought she was the damned first Hillington child. Perhaps she will hear something similar. Rose told Hill that everything was fine, even though she didn't know what her sister was thinking, but it wasn't. Instead of thinking about the bad, she invites her sister to ride horses together. The white horse I brought to Gabriel is so beautiful. Rose believed that she was perfect for her sister. Hill told Rose to stay on topic because it didn't matter right now. Rose was the first to create problems for them regarding their partners, so Hill wonders if she really won't take Gabriel as her partner. Hill said that she would not believe it if her sister said that he asked me to become his partner. She is not going to speak or interfere, well, in such a situation. Rose turned to her sister and asked who said that Gabriel even wanted her as his partner. Hildea was surprised because her sister said that she met with Gabriel today. Rose said that she met him shortly before training, and she received the same earrings and necklaces as her sister. That's why he asked her to meet. And this is even stranger, because he first gave the jewelry to Hildea and then to Rose. Hilde asked if they would be partners. She didn't understand at all why her sister was shaking so much, because they get along very well. But, more importantly, Gabriel still hasn't invited her to accompany him to the ball. As a child, Hill saw them together in the garden more than once. They were having a wonderful time, judging by the way Gabriel gave her the necklace last night. He apparently trained on her before asking Rose to become his partner. Hill didn't understand at all how her sister could smile like that, because she did it because she was worried about her. Rose noticed that just as she was worried about her, Rosie was equally worried about her. Therefore, her sister also needs to decide on a partner. Hildea said that everything was simple, and she was just about to do it, but everyone rejected her proposal. Therefore, at least Rose should have a partner, but her sister refused. Hill didn't understand at all why she was so stubborn. Hildea suggested to her sister that she would ask her dad to become her partner, and her sister, as originally planned, would go with Gabriel. Rose was shocked that there was such a way, after which she asked if it was possible the other way around. When the First Lady heard this, she said that of course not. And she didn't understand at all what was wrong with her sister. Rose said that she doesn't understand why, naturally. Gabriel, I'm not a groom. He still hasn't chosen any of them. Hill doesn't want to fight with his sister over this. Even the letters he sent to them are different. The way he looks at Rose and at Hill, the difference is too obvious. Rose asked if she should choose Gabriel as her partner and her sister would go with her father. Hilde noticed that she acted as if she had just thrown up. Rose asked if she promised her. The sisters agreed. Hill noticed that you looked like someone could stop her. Rose said that my sister can. She, in turn, is just an obedient little sister, like an angel. Chris noticed that the lady was entering the temple. This was her home. But these walls have eyes and ears. The woman did not understand at all who would dare to say anything to her. She can deprive everyone here except him of their tongues in no time. Hilde had a dream about her sister handing over a smiling portrait of Hill to Gabriel as a child. It's just a dream, but the main character's heart beats so hard. Hill thought this was not good at all. She knows perfectly well what is depicted on that paper. Apparently her sister drew it. So why did she want to see the fact that the drawing depicts the main character? Hilde understands nothing at all. The light of these stones is different from her color. Yes, gemstones can symbolize different things depending on the color and type. Rose had previously told her sister that if she was interested, she could explain. But she then said that she was not interested. It's enough that it's beautiful. The maid asked if the lady was interested in what gift would be best to give to a man. Hill had absolutely no idea what was happening to her maids, because they all started listening to her and stopped doing her hair. Hilde asked what was wrong because she believed she had asked the wrong question. The maid said that her mistress misunderstood everything. She just wanted to know why she was suddenly interested in this. They will think that she is going to confess her love to someone. Hildea said that she received a gift and wanted to return it. She had never done something like this before, so she thought about it. Everyone was shocked that she received the gift. Hill said that it was nothing, she just thought that she definitely had to give something in return. It would be nice to know about things that are popular among her peers. It was a man the lady's age. Hill only asks because he can't give him the same gift as he gave his father. Therefore, they do not understand the surprise of the maids at all, and asks the Marquise to express her opinion. If you think about it that way, she's been receiving letters and flowers for 12 years. But she never gave Gabriel gifts in return. Lilia told the lady to take Sienna with her. She doesn't understand fashion, but Sienna does. After these words, Hildea asked her to help her. You shouldn't be so surprised. Sienna told the lady that she doesn't know much. If she takes her with her, she will do everything possible to help her. Choose a gift that will satisfy the lady. It's like they're having an interview here. Hill agreed. The lady asked the other lady if she had heard the news. She believed that some joyful event had happened. She has one piece of news, which she learned from the lady's maid who she can trust. Duke Belkias bought 2 sets of necklaces and earrings with handmade patterns. It is so romantic, because the 3rd crown princess was uneasy after the betrothal. She began to put her wishes into handmade products. Since then, brides have been given handmade gifts before their debut. The Duke went to war at a young age. She could not even think that he knew about this tradition. However, it turns out to be not so simple, and he is very determined about one of the 2 Hillingtons. It's literally a she's his sweetheart announcement. Everyone was very interested in which of the twins would appear wearing the red necklace. It is most important. Words are like an invisible ball, with hidden mockery and irresistible elegance. The thought that will make him refuse a bride who is not suitable for him. Hildea didn't even know this place was so popular. She decided to send the maid back and take the knight accompanying her with her. But after that, she decided to go and buy it herself. Sienna said to follow her. Because, madam, you shouldn't go there. They arrived at the place where they could buy a gift. The gentleman welcomed the guest to the secret haberdashery store. The name alone makes everything clear to the lady. Hildea didn't quite understand where the maid's calm had gone. She's starting to act like the old Sienna again, or she's mistaken. The gentleman told the guests not to stand in one place, because here are the mysterious items that we are proud of in their store. He heard that the lady was choosing a gift for a man of her own age. In this case, he may offer it, but no need to worry because these items are worthy of the reputation of their store. To find them in secret, high-ranking people pay a high price. And of course, she will be able to do what she is looking for with her own hands. Judging by his words, you will have to pay a huge amount of money for the service. She is very interested in how her maid knows about this place. Besides, for some reason, these things remind her of her past life. But Hildea understands that this cannot be. The lady came here to find a return gift, but this is too much. Hill asked how much it cost. The seller noticed that the lady had a diamond in her eye. This item is one of a kind. The recipient will be very impressed. Any magic can be sealed forever and stored there, and not only magic but also blessing. Hildea asked if he had just said something about a blessing, not even about abilities, and the man confirmed this. The main character didn't quite understand how this was possible. It was originally a gift exchanged between nobles. She didn't even know about such a subtle method. However, she is very curious about what if there is a possibility of the blessing being misused. The gentleman didn't even know what she was so afraid of, but there was no need to worry. Nothing dangerous will happen. However, I can't abuse the blessing and I can't keep it in just anything. Only in special items. Hildea asked what that even meant. A blessing can only be invested if she has deep feelings for the person. No one else can use it except him. This is a kind of seal. Hill wasn't entirely sure why she thought of Gabriel. But suddenly, the main character remembered that the high priest told her that she had no definite destiny. The item of blessing can only manifest on the object that received it. Like a ghost, one can read the feelings invested in the item by the original owner. Hill asked again. The seller confirmed that the meaning of this gift is so deep, especially if you give it before the debut. Hill thought about buying what was right in front of her and putting her blessing into it. When we are able to understand the feelings that we previously experienced. The lady doesn't understand at all why she's been confused lately. and why every time she sees Gabriel, her heart beats so much, and understand the reason why she can't look at Rosé normally. Whether she will be able to find out the result of her blessing is still unclear. She didn't know at all whether it was true that she could make someone unhappy, or she could heal someone with her powers. Looks like Hildea is going crazy. The seller also urged her on, constantly asking whether she had chosen a gift and noting that she needed to think carefully. He is one of a kind. If she doesn't choose now, then on the next visit he may not be there. The girl did not understand at all what to do. This is another sales trick. The gentleman continued to say that this was a wonderful choice. He assured her that Hilde would definitely not regret this choice. They decide to go home because people are watching them too much. This is bad, because there are already unpleasant rumors circulating. The mistress told the maid to come back quickly. Hill feels like she's lost her mind. It seems to remind me of Gabriel, a color similar to the color of his eyes. Gems that resemble his eyes. It was as if they were speaking to her mockingly. They asked Hilde if she knew about her feelings. The gentleman said who should have left at least some trace. Therefore, they must quickly find anything that suits him. But unfortunately, nothing was found. Due to the large number of people, therefore the services apologize. Benjamin was shocked that his beloved mother was hiding her assistant and did not want to show it. Therefore, there is nothing left but to look for him personally. The knight said that he could search the entire area, but the prince was against it. It seems that even searching will not help here. Suddenly, the gentleman looked into the crowd. Then he asked what kind of building this was. He couldn't believe that a broken light and a suspicious place in the area was being taken to the temple. If Mother's assistant is in the temple, this complicates everything. It is impossible to search it by breaking into the temple. Suddenly, someone kicked His Highness. He fell and scratched his hand. Benjamin, furious, did not understand how someone dared to touch him, after which Hildea approached him and asked the gentleman if he was okay. Crown Prince Benjamin. As Crown Prince, he has seen many beautiful faces throughout his life, but he never liked her appearance. He did not want someone near him who lacked beauty and aesthetics. The prince had absolutely no idea who this girl was. This is so strange. She's not as beautiful and luxurious as his mother, but he can't take his eyes off her. Hildea was frightened when she realized that the nobleman was dreaming. Judging by the family coat of arms, he appears to be from the house of Baron Hesad, which is located in the territory of Levin in the east. The lady called and asked about Valley, because he is not allowed to reveal his identity as a prince. It was decided that he would introduce himself as a member of an obscure noble family. Mostly only the main branches of the royal family are remembered, but he doesn't understand at all who it is. Benjamin was very grateful to the stranger for her help. When he heard his voice, he didn't understand why it sounded so ridiculous. Anyone who sees him will think that he is behaving like a little boy who cried because he fell. Hildea offered her handkerchief. Benjamin realized that this was the pattern of the Hillington family. He decided to ask why. The girl said that there was no need to be careful. She's Hildea von Hillington. He can wipe away the blood. There is no need to return the scarf. Benjamin felt as strange as possible. Hilde pointed out that next time he'd better not use words that would give him away. The gentleman asked if he could ask what this meant, because the letter said that he broke his arm, but now she's fine. It seems that the real Baron even exchanged letters with this girl. Thinking that he exchanged letters with her, I wanted to bring him here and break his arm. Hilde asked if he was okay. Benjamin asked what she was talking about. The Crown Prince did not understand at all why he wanted to attract her attention. A girl who could become the bride of the damned Duke Belchius. It seemed to her that the wound on her arm was serious, and she is afraid that he could have injured his leg in the fall. If his carriage was nearby, she could help him get there, but Benjamin said everything was fine. He is very grateful to her for her kindness. He'll be fine. Besides, he needs to meet one person. And the letter that he sent to her, he asks for forgiveness for him, because that doesn't mean he doesn't like her. She smiled. Benjamin had heard a lot about Hilde Hillington, but no one had talked about how sweet she was. Therefore, he does not understand at all how they could keep silent about it. Such a kind girl. She was grateful for the apology, but it was time for her to go. And then a servant ran up and wanted to say something about the lady. The gentleman himself noticed that this girl is from the Duchy of Hillington. Gabriel Belchius. He always heard about him from his post-mother and his hated father, the person who was his opponent. The youngest daughter of the Duke of Hillington, Rosariel. Then that girl was not chosen, just like him. A blessing is a hateful blessing, Both Hillington sisters had a blessing. There were bad rumors about the first one, the unlucky prince who was born without a blessing, and Hildea who was born with a bad blessing. Benjamin wants to get closer to her. Benjamin became very interested in how old he looked to her. The servant added that His Highness looked young. The next time they meet, he wants to get together in person, as the only principal of the empire before it. The main character did not quite understand why her gaze fell on this gift. She decided that she still needed to give them away. Put a blessing there. The seller said it was possible. In any case, it is not necessary to put her blessing there. But Hildea, why are you so worried? She just needs to give everything. And rumors already spread about her evil blessing. It's unlikely that Gabriel will like this. Hildea noticed that this was not like her. And why be calm about you? You need to stop. You don't have to give it today. He will buy another one and then give it away. This is great, just perfect. When the lady turned around, she saw Lilia in front of her, after which she asked when the maid had time to arrive. Lilia knocked 3 times, but Hildea did not answer, so she came in. The maid asked if this was the same thing Sienna was talking about. Hill said it was nothing special. Lilia didn't ask anything like that. Come to think of it, she didn't know that rumors would spread throughout the mansion. Unlike Rosé, she doesn't go out often. This is what Hildea is going to give to Gabriel. Well, the truth doesn't mean anything. So tomorrow she is going to send it through someone. Lilia didn't quite understand why tomorrow. It's a little late already, and now it wouldn't be rude to send a gift. Hilde can call a messenger at any time, and besides, it's not far away. This is not what Hill wanted. She wanted to buy another gift and give it to him. Lilia told the lady not to worry, and leave it to her. She will quickly and accurately instruct you to deliver the gift. Gabriel sat in his room and thought about what he heard that Hildea was buying a gift for someone. Moreover, a man. Rosé asked if she was right about the necklace. She said that if you just give it as a gift, your sister won't accept it. That's why she told me to give her the same necklace. This is true even if Hildea did not know the meaning of the necklace. This will play into his hands. Other men will not dare to give her anything. However, Gabriel doesn't understand. He noted that he didn't think there was a need to give her a gift either. When he saw the expression on the girl's face, he didn't understand why it was like that, and believed that she was in a bad mood. Rosie screamed and said that all he does is hang around her sister, and I didn't understand why you couldn't just trust your instincts. He still can't even breathe calmly in front of her sister, and Rosé doesn't understand why he's so careful. He must think with his head why it was necessary to make her sister take this gift. Rosariel screamingly asked him how anyone could be jealous of her. Her sister will shudder when she finds out what he is like. A rugged war hero, that's what she seems to think of Gabriel. But the way he behaves in front of his sister is a pretense. The Duke denied it. Rosé did not understand why he denied it. Gabriel decided to ask what she was thinking. He couldn't believe that she was trying to postpone her sister's engagement because she didn't like it. Rosé always puts her sister's happiness first, so something else is important. He shouldn't worry about useless things. War heroes need to worry about what will happen in a few days. Rose asked Gabriel if it was true that all the other gentlemen managed to break their arms and legs. Rosé knew it was somehow his fault. Well, that's because Gabriel is very jealous. But if this continues, he will soon become obsessed with Hildea. The gentleman said that this is not so. But Rosé knew that it looked like a lie, but she didn't understand how it happened. Not 1 or 2. Gabriel noticed that the reason was not only jealousy. Rose asked what then? It really started with jealousy. But after investigation, it turned out that these scoundrels had a bet on who would come to Hildea's first dance. They decided to bet on the first dance so that the truth would not reach Hildea's ears. He decided to do everything quietly. Gabriel asked if Hill would tell Rosie about this. Rosariel thought about what to do, after which she decided that she would not tell. The Duke thought she would ask for something in exchange for silence. Either way, Gabriel is cunning. Rose thought so. He didn't want Rosé to judge him for this. If she had a conscience, she would share her opinion about this. The girl was shocked that he was saying this to her. Rosariel decided to ask if he understood the plan. Gabriel needs to be braver. But the Duke was sure that if Hildea found out, you would be very angry. Rosé started laughing at him and saying that Hilde wouldn't be angry with her and asked if he was jealous. Gabriel was very curious if Rose was only helping him for the jewelry and asked if she would continue to help if Hill didn't like him. Rosé reported that this was the reason. Because who can imagine the Ghost Duke crying and laughing when he hears about his future bride? Gabriel asked again, and Rose repeated once again that there was a reason for that, because they look alike. The Duke was confused when he heard that he and Hildea were alike. He was wondering where it was and what it meant. A knight rushed into the room and said that he had shocking news, so he urgently asked if he could enter. Gabriel didn't understand at all why ask, because he had already come in, and at the same time asked what happened. Dian said that now is not the time to be so calm. Lady Hildea sent a gift. Hildea didn't quite understand why this happened. She was told that the gift had been delivered to Gabriel. Afterwards, she was so busy preparing for her debut that she completely forgot about it. But she doesn't understand at all how this is possible. Rose approached her and noticed that she had a gorgeous hairpin. It matches the color of the dress she will wear on her debut day. Therefore, she was very interested in how he was able to guess the color. It's so amazing. Hill asked what was wrong with her sister. Rosariel didn't quite understand what was wrong with her. Hilde noticed that she looked away. I wonder why. Rose asked Lily what she thought. The maid noticed that it suited her mistress very well. Rose said this too. Hildea did not understand at all what they were talking about. As Rose said, Gabriel sent jewelry to match the dress. The debutante ball will be held along with a banquet in honor of the victory. We hold a grand banquet for 2 days in a row. That's why Hildea has spare dresses and a lot of matching jewelry. In short, it is difficult to send jewelry as a gift that would exactly match the dress. Suddenly, Hilde thought that perhaps it was Rose who had told him the color of the dress. Even if not, she probably feels bad. He's her fiancé. Rose added that she also received a gift. Hill was shocked that this time he gave her an extra gift. In any case, there is no need to contact Gabriel anymore, but this was just a naive thought. A few hours ago, no more need to go to the battlefield. Lilia asked if she would wear the necklace that Gabriel had given her. Hildea confirmed this. Then, in accordance with the main dress, they will select a hairpin, a gift from the Duke, and white lace gloves to match the sleeves. The maids asked the mistress not to fall asleep and keep her back straight. The main character has no strength at all. Hildea believed that the atmosphere in her sister's room was no different. Maybe it's even busier there. Lilia told the lady to stand still. Rose is a cheerful child, and it is more difficult to get ready with her. Finally, they finished. The lady could look in the mirror. In her past life, because of her unattractive face, she rarely looked in the mirror. Hildea was very interested in whether everything was normal there. Looking at herself, Hildea realized that she really looked like one of the noble young ladies. So she doesn't think it's that bad. Now you can go. Lilia wished a happy journey to the lady. Hildea asked the maid where her sister was, and she said that she had long since gone down. Knowing Rosariel's character, she must be grumbling, waiting for her sister. Therefore, we need to get down quickly. Gabriel was waiting for her near the carriage. The main character did not understand at all how this could happen. His facial expression was simply incomparable, and now the main character realized that Rosario left her with Gabriel and left with her father. Gabriel is being led by her partner, so Hill doesn't understand how she could do this. The lady greeted. The situation was not very good. Today he is also beautiful. We need to collect our thoughts. Nevertheless, in the original story, Gabriel was so handsome that even a princess could fall in love with him. Hill noticed that he had very broad shoulders. The Duke was very shy, but he kept saying that the ladies were very beautiful today. Hill noticed that Gabriel was also confused. But it's justified. The lady noted that, given the current situation, she was also very surprised. It looks like they need to leave now to avoid being late. In this case, Gabriel asked for Lady Hildea's hand in marriage, and he helped her get into the carriage. Currently, Hildea was thinking about how long she still had to travel to the palace, and she did not understand at all what she should do in such an awkward atmosphere. Hill decided that as soon as she got out, she would immediately hit her sister. Rosariel, in turn, did not understand why her ears were burning so much. The father asked if this happened because of the sin she committed. Rosé asked if he would really behave like this and be angry because his sister did not go with them. The Duke noticed that he did not say anything. Rose angrily added that he was offended and was acting like a 5-year-old child. The father covered his head with his hand and noticed that she was slandering him so absurdly. He was so sad for them. The situation is deplorable. The father asked Rose if she had anything to do with him. Rosé informed him that today he would be her partner. The father was in complete shock and asked what she said. Rosie told him that her sister would be partnered with Gabriel. The Duke did not understand at all what to do if Hildea hated him, and Rosariel only said that her skirt was very uncomfortable. She didn't understand at all how to move in it all day. She wanted to tear it from the inside. The father was truly shocked that these words came from a debutante. Hildea should have been in her place. My father said that no matter how rich a family Rose was born into, her attitude towards the value of money is too frivolous. Rosariel asked her dad if he would continue to grumble on such an important day. The father didn't even know what to do with her. Rose added that she did such a commendable thing, so she doesn't understand why he hits her. Sears noted that it was necessary to rein in a silly girl like her. He wondered if she was completely afraid that her sister would be angry with her. Hill is usually calm, but the atmosphere changes when she's angry. As soon as the Duke remembers what his daughter looks like when she's angry, she immediately becomes scared. Rosaria laughed, and her father asked if she was laughing, thinking that she had done the right thing. The girl said that her sister would not be angry with her, but she's not sure about her father. It hurts his heart every time Hill calls him father. Now she will get angry because of Rosé. Rosariel noticed that if her sister walked in with her father wearing that necklace, the situation would be difficult. All this time, my father was curious how it happened with those necklaces. Crazy Gabriel. He didn't just give it as a gift. Well, he dared to give things with a similar design, as if he was trying to play a double game. Rosé said that although they are similar, they are still different. Father knew that the guy was nervous in front of Hildea and was terribly shy. However, he believed that this Duke was close to Rosariel. Just hearing these words gave her goosebumps. Even if they are close, this does not mean that they will get married. And now he can see perfectly. He gave her a necklace of precious stones, the same color as her eyes. On the other hand, Rose got a completely inappropriate color, blue. Still, the father thought that Duke Belchius had feelings for his youngest daughter. But it was horror for Rosariel. Rosé told her father that nothing could be done. If Gabriel hears, he will want to fight the Duke of Hillington. Her father understood her. Rosé pointed out that he had to remain calm because people were looking at them. She noticed that, in any case, Gabriel was not looking at her at all. The father asked if there were those who did not know this. The guy who looks away from Hill every time. If she's not around, who he is quickly changes. Everyone at home knows about this. However, her sister doesn't seem to like him at all. Rosé told her father to think about it. If his sister really didn't like him, then every time she saw Gabriel, she would mercilessly pierce him with words. It is obvious. If you think about it, Hilde needs to put the clinging guys in their place with words. Rosé told Dad that he was completely inattentive. Sears didn't understand why she suddenly decided to tell him this. It's true, she asked how they met with Mother. She was the first to confess and propose. Sears blushed and asked her how she even knew about it. He never said this. Hildea noticed that he was wearing her gift. It was somehow strange for her to drive in such silence. She wanted to say something, but Gabriel also sat quietly. Suddenly, the Duke said that he liked the return gift she sent. The main character did not quite understand what to do with such an awkward situation. They followed me. Gabriel apologized in case she was embarrassed by the fact that he was wearing cufflinks. But that's not the point. On the contrary, she should apologize for Rosé. However, Gabriel wanted to wear them. Hilde asked if he was talking about the cufflinks she gave him. It was exactly like that. But the girl did not understand why, and at the same time noticed that there was no blessing embedded in them. The Duke was surprised, and the lady said that there are objects that contain a blessing, and this is one of those that conceal a blessing in itself. If he wants, they can talk about it later. Later, when he and Rosé become lovers. Gabriel believed that in this case, the lady also wanted an item with a sealed blessing. Hill said that's not entirely true. She didn't understand at all why he was talking so friendly, not like before, and he is the same to me as usual. Hildea decided to ask if her sister had asked her for anything that concerned Hildea. She believed he had been asked to do the first dance. From the expression on his face, she immediately understood what he was asked to do. Hildea asked for forgiveness and said that if this was so, she would politely refuse this kind of concern. Gabriel didn't understand why at all. All this was due to the fact that Rosé would not dance at all. Hill didn't intend to do the first dance to begin with. It will be strange if Rosé doesn't dance, but she's the opposite. Hill noted that Rosé. Great was the love of Gabriel, who was fascinated by her. She has a tendency to see everything in rainbow colors. If you think about it, she can be maddeningly stupid sometimes. But even so, her sister is very charming. They always had a topic of discussion, and that was talking about Rose. Hill noted that everything turned out this way because she really loves and values her sister. Therefore, she asked to forgive her for this. Gabriel noticed that they have a very good relationship, and he was already envious. Hill noticed that his mood had worsened. She already thought that she had said something wrong. And then she realized that she had been careless. Gabriel has no close relatives left because of a past incident. When she heard about the tragedy, she thought that he must be very lonely. Hildea completely forgot and thought that I could have offended him with a word. Hill hoped my expression didn't look strange, after which she decided that no one cared about her appearance. The feeling of anxiety and worry, when alone, will definitely end. They arrived at the scene. When a person loves someone, these thoughts simply pass by. Hildea told Gabriel that she was very sorry. She did not know that her sister would enter the hall without waiting for them. Rosariel's performances are incredible. The Duke feels more remorse than he expected. It's so hard for him to deceive Hill, he's just going crazy, and so ridiculous. For the sake of his goal, he smiled, deceiving her. Everything is different around her, even on the way here. All he could do was look at the reflection in the window. Without even having time to ask at the first dance, he was refused. This is typical for Hill, thinking about his little sister. Hildea turned to Gabriel, after which he reported that he was fine. She said that as soon as she saw Rosé, she would immediately scold her. And this won't happen again. Gabriel knows that this is not the intention, but it is as if he has been rejected again. Hildea once again asked if Gabriel was okay. The Duke simply didn't know what to say. Then he said that he was fine. He likes her, and becoming her partner is a great honor. The man was surprised and asked if this was the beautiful young lady Rosariel von Hillington. It looks like it. However, the Duke of Hillington is next to her. This means that her father became her partner. It is very strange, and it's surprising because it shouldn't be this way. It's an unforgettable atmosphere. The Duke of Hillington, who was in groups with everyone except his dead wife, smiles surprisingly widely. Some people noticed the very same necklace that Belkias asked him to personally make to order. Looks very luxurious, but the color of the gemstone is not red. Twins have red eyes. In this case, everything is clear. Everyone greeted Duke Gabriel von Ellen Belkias and Lady Hilde von Hillington. Many people did not understand at all how he could be so perfect. Then they noticed a red necklace. The Emperor thought he was such an insatiable guy. Wherever he is, he always attracts attention. But he doesn't like it at all. All attention immediately goes towards Gabriel. Because of this, Raffia coming in after him will attract less attention. He decided to ask his wife what she thought about it. The Empress does not understand at all what he is asking. The Emperor meant that their child would pale in comparison to him. The wife said that he was the one who allowed this to happen, knowing about it. Today, in this place of honor, he congratulates on the end of the suffering of the Empire and thinks that he can give all the honors to one person. Gabriel didn't want him to call him a hero at all. Maybe he accurately noticed the blessing energy emanating from the necklace. The color of the stone means that this girl definitely belongs to him. The Emperor asked the main hero of the day, who began to shine, to come closer. How hard it is for Hilde. Although she had prepared for this moment more diligently than anyone else, having so many people looking at her was more frightening than she thought. If it weren't for Gabriel's strong support, she might even have turned around and ran away from here. In this situation, Hildea is grateful to him. Although he will leave soon, she didn't understand why he didn't go to the Emperor. If he doesn't come, he will be a traitor, and the nobles whisper among themselves. Gabriel told Hildea that he would be back soon. Although not like Gabriel's usual behavior, something has changed. Now he is by her side, even if she thinks it is Lady Rosariel's request. Hilde noticed that he was not looking away. Her debut partner is him, and under no circumstances should she forget about this. Hill didn't understand at all why he was behaving this way. She was very interested in whether Rosariel had seen this now. Gabriel asked the lady for an answer. Hildea said that the fact that he was her partner was known to everyone present. She was very interested in what expression she had on her face now. In that case, Gabriel will go. Hildea doesn't understand at all why she is so sorry. Suddenly, Hildea wondered what she was even thinking about right now. And where does she have regret? Why, suddenly? What is she doing now with the person who is temporarily acting as her partner at the request of her little sister? After that, she saw her sister and called her menacingly. Rosé noticed that her sister was so angry because of her sudden action. Hilde didn't understand at all how the main character could behave like that. Looking at that smiling face, Hill's anger melted away like snow. But Hildea can't leave it like that. She said that her sister knew, but she did it anyway. Hildea said that no matter what Rose said, it was useless, because she knew that she was friends with Gabriel, but promises were important. After that, the lady turned to her father and said that even if Rose had done this, she did not understand how he could. Until this moment, walking arm in arm with Rosé, he smiled so calmly. That's why she thought he was so uncomfortable with her. He doesn't even look her in the eyes, because she got angry with him once. Hildea did not understand what this sound was, because they were far from people. There is no way the sound of hiccups can be heard here. It seems that this is not Rosé. She did not want to believe that it could be her father, but his face did not look like that at all. Then she heard that it was really the father. Hildea called a servant and took the drink for her father. Hildea was shocked that her father was now feeling guilty towards her. Rosariel stuck to her before other people passing by the leeches did. Suddenly, Gabriel realized that Rosé had seen him because she started waving at him. It seems that in the current state of the empire, a lot of people have gathered here. Gabriel greeted the great son of the empire, his believe your emperor and her majesty the empress, the great noble moon of the empire. The empress noticed that they had not seen Duke Belkius for a long time. Everyone knows that his hard work was great. This truly brought good to the empire. The ruler noticed that the empress's words were true and added that he was a young war hero and asked if there would be a line of young ladies who wanted to dance at least one dance with him. He called Princess Rafia closer, and he asked if it was possible not to call her the most noble girl in this place. She should be visible. Everything is as before. Gabriel finds the imperial family so intolerable. Everyone said they were so suitable for each other. Rafia told her father and mother that she was shy. The emperor noticed that the princess spoke too modestly. How ridiculous. The previous emperor had long ago decided on the engagement, so it is not at all clear why he is now interfering with him. He didn't understand at all what Hildea would think when he saw this situation. He couldn't allow that to happen because he didn't want there to be any misunderstanding. The emperor added that there is something they should not forget at such a moment. Today's banquet is in honor of the victory of the young Duke Belkius. But these are also the children of nobles who were unable to formally introduce themselves due to the war. Blessing and talent. Usually, the children of nobles proudly proclaim their blessings and talents during their debut. Then, depending on their ideas, the situation can change dramatically. Valuable blessings and corresponding talents demonstrated receive an equal amount of glory. Misplaced unsightly blessings and worthless talents evoke sympathy. So today he invited the best priest and asks for applause for Chris. The father turned to Hildea and asked how she was. She replied that everything was fine. She decided not to retreat. Curious eyes looked at her to see if she was truly as they say. Hilde will not run away. Her father respected her decision. Rosé noticed that they had such a gloomy atmosphere. She asked her father why he was asking obvious things. Rose asked why her sister should avoid them. She sparkles so much. Hildea is very grateful to her sister, but the fact is that this is a large banquet hall, and she hopes Rosé remembers this. The man said that he was the high priest and his name was Chris. He is very grateful to be invited to such a postal place. His job here is simple. The high priest was always charged with interpreting the blessings given by the god. Thus, there is no one here among the nobles who knows their blessings and abilities better than he. The atmosphere has changed. It feels like everyone is taking an exam, although this is natural. There are those who are not blessed, or those who want to flaunt it, like Hildea. Her sister took Hilde's hand and said that everything was fine. Hill asked Rose if she was nervous. Junior Madam didn't even know why she was nervous. Her blessing and ability are meant to be appreciated by others. Hildea noticed that her sister was so brave. In this case, the sister thought that she loved her, and she confirmed it. Hill noticed who it was, a piece of fabric with the names of the girls and boys who debuted at this event, just like they were taught in etiquette lessons. Rosé asked with displeasure when he would call everyone. Hill told her sister to be quiet. Rose told Hildea that this is such a terrible tradition, and she will fall asleep while the high priest reads it. It seemed to Hilde that they had just met the eyes of the high priest, but maybe it was just her imagination. The father came up from behind and told his daughters that they would be called at the very end. Rosé noted that in this case they have a lot of time. Rosé asked if she could go away for a while to fill her stomach. She said that the salmon here looked very appetizing, and she couldn't even drink water properly because she had to wear a dress. Rosariel also noticed that something was no different from torture. Hill noted that Isis never misses a chance to make some noise. The Empress did not understand at all what the result of the blessing and abilities were, because her son was relegated to the background. Besides, those people attract too much attention to themselves. Hillingtons. They say that the Detroits also want to break off the engagement. If, because of the news of the wedding of Hillington and Belkias, the Emperor's relationship with them becomes distant, people said that the ladies of the duchy seem to be nothing of themselves. Who will play into the Empress's hands? The lady said that nothing can be done about a person's feelings. Even if this is your own daughter, the existing hatred will not go away. She just wanted to say it. The Empress noted that it was better for Madame to refrain from such speculation, but she did not understand at all how the Duke of Hillington's attitude towards the twins could be so different. He's been talking to his second daughter for a while now, but not the other. If the handsome Duke of Hillington doesn't feel that way, he has a reason. Gabriel noticed that it would be better for Madame to keep her mouth shut. The lady did not understand at all what kind of rudeness he allowed himself in front of the Emperor and Empress. The Duke noticed that Madame herself seemed to mistakenly imagine herself as an empress. In this case, in front of him, when he already clearly sees everything before his eyes, she cannot insult the family of his precious bride. As they all know, he has a bad character. If he had not gone beyond what was permitted, he would not have been called the Phantom Duke. So lady should keep an eye on that talk. Even the Empress's piercing gaze will not make her object to him. Otherwise, this crazy Duke will take her life. The High Priest called the Hillington sisters. Those sharp looks, especially the gaze of one who observes more closely from afar. This must be Princess Raphia. Hildea did not even notice how she pretended to know him, but he understood everything. By the way, this scene seems to be the most important in the original story. The scene where, while listening to Rosé's blessing, the expressions on the faces of the people watching changed. The changes were especially noticeable on the faces of the Empress and Princess, from a girl who can be removed at any moment. She turned into a powerful barrier. Hillington Rosariel blooms luxuriously. Now everyone understands why, when they see her, they have such a reaction. Hillington Hilde has no definite destiny. Many did not understand what it was. Many blessings. It's okay, Hildea was ready for this. Many believed that this meant being like a dead person. Rosé was angry, but Hildea told her to control herself, and she suggested just leaving in silence. They may well consider her to be a dead person, but during this time she tested her strength, can heal an injured bird. Trees and flowers in the garden grow well thanks to its power, and she made Gabriel's heart beat again. So I am not an ominous blessing at all. Rosé added that everyone is a coward, and her sister should not listen to their words. Now that the announcement of the blessing is over, the Emperor tells everyone to enjoy the banquet as much as they like. Rosé said that on the first day, they would just eat and have fun, and on the second day they will dance. The real debut is on the second day. Hildea said that tomorrow her sister and Gabriel would dance, but Rosé interrupted her when she saw a limited edition chocolate from the central square of Rochampille. Rosé told her sister that she would go and eat it so that everything would not be taken apart, and said goodbye. Hildea hoped that her sister did not speak in this way, and did not mean that they would now see each other at home after the banquet. Someone called Hildea. Without even looking back, she can guess whose graceful voice it is. Princess Raphia, an evil girl standing between Gabriel and Rosariel. But having seen it with my own eyes, this is an aura that cannot be underestimated. Hill didn't even know what to do now. She came prepared to protect Rosé, but did not think that the final boss princess would personally approach. She greeted the princess, and she introduced herself as Hildea Hillington, greeting the noble lady of the empire. Just be careful not to accept a greeting that means she doesn't respect her. The princess was very interested in how she would react to this. The father talks to high-ranking nobles. Rose was captured by noble ladies, and Hildes don't have to worry about this, because they listen to Rosé's stories with enthusiasm. She just needs to be more careful. The lady said that she had no self-respect and did not understand how she could be so impudent. Hilde decided that she would not react in any way. After all, she wants to see her reaction, but it will only make her feel worse if she gets angry or cries. She is the true villain of the novel and a person with an intimidating aura. Raphia said that she has excellent manners, simply impeccable. However, Hildea has one thing that she would like to get, and she does not know what to do. Hilde was very scared, but she understood that she should not reflect. Hildea said that if this was some kind of thing, she would be glad to give it to her. But if this is a person, What she wants could be Gabriel or her little sister Rosariel. This cannot be allowed. Because the two of them should be happy, Rafia asked what Hildea would do if it was a person, if this is the duchy's way of expressing loyalty to the imperial palace. At such moments, Hildea's indifferent face comes in handy. Hostility versus hostility, out of spite answer hacking. Hildea said that if it is a person, then everything becomes more complicated. Rafia asked how. If she meant a person, who does he have free will? And Hildea can't give away something like that. Suddenly, some lady got very angry and started screaming. She did not understand at all how she dared speak to the princess in such a way. A girl with an ominous blessing. But when she saw Hildea's face, she immediately began to apologize. Hill didn't understand what was wrong because she suddenly turned pale. The princess noticed that she was not easy to get along with and she would not speak openly. At first glance, she doesn't seem greedy. It's unlikely that he'll give her the thing he likes. Hilde noticed that she was looking at her necklace. Hill didn't quite understand what the princess was talking about. Rafia began to congratulate her. Unlike the second daughter, who can attract anyone to her side, Hill no longer bothers her. Hill didn't quite understand why she started congratulating her, but she knew perfectly well that tomorrow it would be worse. If he dances, he will get more bad looks. And if he tells Rose to deal with this princess, and she threatens her with her fist, there is simply no first lady who did that. This needs to be prevented. Suddenly, she heard a very polite voice. In such a cruel banquet hall, someone asks her if it's cold. Hilde became very interested in who he was if the people behind him had such expressions on their faces. Hill asked if he was addressing her. Benjamin confirmed that he addresses the lady standing in front of him right now only to her. He believed that she recognized him. Hildea confirmed this and asked what he was doing here. But suddenly, she noticed that he was wearing an outfit that is worn on a prince so that someone else in such a place would be a grandfather like a prince. This is very strange. This simply cannot happen. Hildea thought about it and realized that he had then borrowed the surname of another family. This is a disguise. Hill had heard that nobles sometimes did this in order to hide their identity to the outside world. So that means he came over to shut her up. He said that if she didn't mind, he would like to talk to her a little. Hill was unhappy because, after being a princess, she now also had to confront the prince. She didn't understand why she needed all this. Still, it is different. Just by looking at her, you can immediately see that she is more charming compared to her younger sister. They should be treated this way. If Belkias hadn't given her a necklace the color of her eyes in the first place, you would have looked at her with less evil eyes. With all this, Hildea is like a rising sun. He doesn't understand at all how she can be so beautiful. Hilde looks special, unlike him who has no blessings, no inabilities. Therefore, the prince is very interested in whether she will look in his direction without any contempt. Hildea didn't understand at all why he had such a face, because he was much older than her, but looked very young. After these thoughts, the lady realized that this was not the problem now. She noticed the Empress's warning look, which makes it clear that he is a person with whom you should under no circumstances communicate, and someone like Hildea does not dare talk to her precious son. She can't bear that he started the conversation. Come to think of it, Hillington and Deja had a bad relationship. Hildea asked His Majesty if he wanted to tell her something. Benjamin noticed that she seemed to recognize him. Hilde noted that there could not be another person in this banquet hall wearing the same attire as the crown prince. Hill believed that the situation was a secret, and now he wants to ask her to keep what she saw him that day a secret. But in this case, it is unclear why in such a crowded place, because it would be better to move to a quiet terrace. The prince said that he was really sorry because it turned out that he had deceived the lady, and he approached her for the wrong reason, but simply wanted to talk to her because he was glad to meet her. Hill didn't understand why. Besides, he has such a shy expression on his face. She doesn't think he would make that face because she pulled her hand once when he fell. But there is a person who looks at them more closely than the Empress, and this is Gabriel. Hildea didn't understand at all why he had such an expression on his face as if he was angry. And at the same time, it seems like he is worried about her. He said with just one look that if she stood still, he would come up to her. Benjamin asked the bear to listen to him because he had not left yet. Hill, you apologized, to which the prince said that everything was fine. And he noticed that Belkias obviously attracts other people's views. After all, this is a banquet in honor of his victory, and he understands. Hill didn't know what their relationship was in the original story. Rather, the presence of the Empress was felt more. There doesn't seem to be any mention of the Crown Prince. Hildea said that if she dared to speak to His Highness, but he interrupted her. The prince said to call him Benjamin because he shouldn't be called Your Highness. The lady didn't understand at all why he was so calm. Hildea believed that she had fallen into an invisible trap. If you lose your vigilance in front of the Crown Prince, then this could be a trick by the Empress in order to get some information from her. This means that she may want to learn more about her blessing. There is no definite destiny. This really clears things up. Doubts, fright, mockery, and on top of that, suspicion. Is this really a bad blessing, or are they just trying to appreciate her? She was very interested in what the Empress needed. Hildea told His Highness that she did not think that their conversation pleased Her Majesty the Empress. Benjamin confirmed this, because she wants him to become an obedient, kind son. He happens to be like this because he values and loves his mother. Hildea didn't understand why she felt like she'd made a mistake. Benjamin sincerely came here just to talk to her. Lady Hillington, who received an ominous blessing, His Highness the Crown Prince speaking kindly to her, and Duke Belkius observing this situation. After all, it resembles an episode from a popular novel. Their relationship seems cold, despite the fact that he gave her a necklace, which is usually given to his beloved. Looking at this, it looks like Duke Belkius can barely contain himself. That necklace may actually have been assigned to scare away other gentlemen. But Lady Hillington, she has an inauspicious blessing, and she doesn't seem to be happy about it at all. This is somehow suspicious, so it makes some ladies wonder if these two are really twins. Hill is nothing like Rosariel. Besides, her blessing, everything is too strange. If she is the daughter of a duke, she should stop acting so prim. In their time, blessings and abilities are more important. Everyone present here knows this. Before the banquet began, the Empress clearly made it clear to him not to get involved with the Hillington twins. But he disobeyed. The Empress was very angry because he contradicted his mother's words because of some girl. Benjamin noted that this is a world in which a person is judged by his blessings. What she couldn't feel while reading was the heartless reality. For example, even with the status of a princess, Raphia would not be able to treat her with such disdain as before. But here blessing and ability come first rather than status. Emperor de Troya is a cruel man, but has amazingly powerful abilities. Thanks to this, despite the Empress's efforts to increase her power, the Emperor's power was much stronger. Hildea said that his rights were high. Benjamin was delighted that she thought so too. For some reason, this sad voice makes Hildea feel even more sad. Benjamin added that all the people around him who were like birds in a cage had the same reaction. However, Hildea is different. The lady asked what he meant. She did nothing more than offer her hand when he fell and share the handkerchief. Benjamin started talking about the handkerchief she gave him. Hildea asked what was wrong with him. He is very dear to the prince, and Benjamin was touched. At that time, he was not even the crown prince to her. He was just a man from a small family. But my lady showed him kindness, and this is the behavior of a person who does not care about blessing or ability. Hildea was shocked that he would behave this way just because of the scarf. She thought it was too hasty and too jumping to conclusions. His Highness Benjamin must know when to stop. In her heart, Hildea does not want his powerful mother to put pressure on her later. Hildea noticed that it was just a scarf. Anyone would do that. But Benjamin didn't think so. All the people he knew would not approach and help a guy from some pathetic noble family. In fact, even his mother. Hill didn't even know what to do with such a heavy atmosphere. Benjamin noticed that he heard her blessing. He didn't care at all about the reactions of others, and for him she is the most brilliant and shining like the sun. But Hildea did not agree with him, and she noticed that His Highness seemed to greatly overestimate her. Benjamin said he wasn't overestimating at all. If she doesn't mind, then he would even like to make friends with her. He offered her a personal invitation to a hunting competition and asked if she would mind. This is a very onerous proposition, but Hildea can understand the circumstances. But now it's not just Benjamin, Gabriel, Princess Raphia. Even the eyes of the guests and the Empress are riveted on her. Hill was shocked that things were turning out this way today. She noticed that her father clearly understands that she is in an uncomfortable position, so she does not understand at all why he cannot approach her. The Duke of Hillington turned away, and Hildea realized that she should not have even hoped for this. From the look, it immediately becomes clear that there is awkwardness between father and daughter. But Hill is very interested in why her father's face is so gloomy. Rose. She's doing the booty dance now. Hill believed that her sister should be doing this at home, not here. Now Hilde has no one to ask for help. She thought about how best she could refuse him in her position. Suddenly someone put a hand between her and Benjamin. It was Gabriel. He said that he had returned as I promised my lady, but he is interested in whether milady knows his highness. Hill didn't know what to say, whether she knew him or not. Gabriel turned to his highness and apologized in order to ask what business he had with his partner. This is bad. It's not good at all. What kind of middle principal is taking an interest in Hill? Gabriel sees how the Empress looks at her with hatred, and not only that, this infuriates Gabriel. He doesn't understand why not only the Crown Prince, even here the priest irritated him, for what he saw here. For the first time, besides Rosariel, someone looked at her so softly. Why is this so, and when? The priest must have seen her when he pronounced the blessing. In this case, it is completely unclear to him where she met the Crown Prince. And what kind of scarf is this? Benjamin asked if Duke Belkias should explain himself to him before asking him such a thing. Crown Prince Benjamin. Society regards him quite well. He is a calm, reasonable prince who always listens to his mother. But this view is completely different. Gabriel bowed and said that he had rushed and made a mistake before him. The Duke would be grateful if he would kindly forgive him. The prince added that he asked him a strange question. Milady only introduced dialogue with him, so he doesn't understand why he was in such a hurry. The Duke knows that it is rude to leave your partner alone. The imperial palace is excessively large, and there are many people attending the banquet today, so something unexpected might happen in a place like this, so he should fail faster. The Duke's words are very mysterious for Benjamin, because at the banquet you can freely have a conversation with anyone. It's as if he thinks the prince won't be able to protect my lady. Yes, this cannot be. But Duke Gabriel thought it was possible. His Highness occupies a noble position. But suddenly he begins a conversation with one of the girls at this banquet. Therefore, it may attract a lot of strange looks. Benjamin asked what he meant by strange looks. Gabriel gave an example of a change in the soul of a man who values his son so much. It seems that he did not discuss his actions with the Empress in advance. In any case, it is not good to stay here. Hill needs to be taken to her family. Benjamin turned to my lady. Gabriel noticed that he was a cunning bastard. Pointing at Hill, he left him no chance to respond. Benjamin asked to be allowed to ask a question. Gabriel wants to take her away from here. Apart from his jealousy, being around the Crown Prince is dangerous. Obsession. His expectations and hopes to which he clings simply desire Hilde. Usually, such people demonstrate behavior that goes beyond the boundaries of ideas. You need to get out of here. Hill gave permission to ask a question. The prince asked if it was possible that Duke Belkias's bride was Lady Hilde. These words about Prince Benjamin being pure-hearted are nonsense, because he knows about the current situation and does this on purpose. Hildea informed His Highness that this was not so, after which she took Duke Belkias's hand, and she said that it was true that Duke Belkias was a groom for the Hillington family. He had worked hard to accompany her today, so she wants to respond with kindness towards her partner and asks permission for them to leave. Hilde noted that today's conversation had been quite informative, and she was grateful that he was the first to show her mercy, and she hopes that the prince will have a good time during the rest of the first day at the banquet. Benjamin understood her, and noted with a smile that tomorrow there would also be a banquet, and they would see Milady Hildea again. For once, it's over. The atmosphere left much to be desired. Gabriel looked like he was hunting the crown prince. Even the prince seemed formidable at that moment. This is not just arrogance. It seems that Hilde is to blame. He interrupted the conversation on the pretext of accompanying her. Now, all you need to do is stay close to your family. And letting go of Gabriel's hand, maybe he was uncomfortable because of her touch. Gabriel apologized to the lady and said that her hand was shaking. Hilde felt better, but she herself did not notice how her hand shook. She thought it was just a consolation without any meaning. But she doesn't understand why her heart aches so much. After all, it didn't mean anything. He is polite because of Rosé's request, since she is her older sister. Gabriel asked Hildea if she knew His Highness. Hill said they accidentally collided. If someone threatened her, then Gabriel can help. But Hill said that's not the case. The prince was extremely kind. It was just an inappropriate situation. Hildea really wanted the Duke to let her go, because there's no need to hold hands. And it's very strange that they stand like this. Father and Rose are there. The trembling will start soon, therefore he must let her go as quickly as possible. His expression is cold. Hilde doesn't understand at all why he looks at her like that. He was the first to grab her hand. Hilde doesn't know what she did wrong. Unlike Lady Rosariel, it's like a non-existent person. The girl with the sinister blessing, talking only to Rosariel, hurt. This moment is heavier than all those voices behind you. What is this? Gabriel's attitude towards Rose and towards Hill has always been different. Hill, on the contrary, should be surprised that he endured everything and accompanied her until now. Suddenly, Gabriel asked if she liked it. In this case, they will let go of their hands. Hill thought it was strange because he was the one who didn't want to hold hands with her. Just now he seemed surprised to her. Rose immediately came running to them. Hill pulled her hand away. She needed to apologize, but she couldn't say a word. Rose asked her sister if she wanted to taste the chocolate with her because it was very tasty. Dear Sister Hill. She doesn't want to know, doesn't want to understand, doesn't want to realize that she is jealous of Gabriel for his sister. Rose told the ladies that she had brought her sister. She repeated once again that her sister was very beautiful, and it seems that in this place she is the most beautiful girl, but these words can be considered as an insult to the Empress. Rosariel's words and actions contradict each other. Dame Hildale noticed that she had brought her sister after all. Hilda did not quite hear how her sister addressed this lady. This is Countess Hildale. She remembered what the lady had said, that in order to feel comfortable in social circles, it would be a good idea to gain the favor of Countess Hildale. The Countess has good fortune and a noble position. Thanks to this, she's untouchable even for the Emperor and Empress. But there is a problem. She is very insightful. She sees through those who are nearby, and she immediately understands what they want from her. Many people get close to her for benefits. They say she treats people with distrust. Hilda doesn't quite understand why someone like her is here. She was pleased to meet you. The Countess noticed that she had a very cheerful sister. Lady Rosariel spent the entire day talking about her sister. Hill bowed and said that she was pleased to meet you. She was Lady Hilda Hillington, and it's an honor to meet her. The Countess noted that she seemed to be quiet and had a beauty that went well with her elegant demeanor. Hill wasn't quite sure whether she was reproaching her for her silence or whether it was a compliment. Still, she thanked her. Rosie pulled her sister along and showed her the most delicious dishes she tried. She asked her sister to try it. This is what Countess Hildale strongly recommended. It's so delicious you'll lick your fingers. The lady remarked that it was so wonderful because they had such a good relationship. Hillingtons are blessed. The atmosphere became softer than it was before. Rose is like a talisman for the main character. Milady noticed that Lady Hilda was not so easy to get close to. She seems uncomfortable with Lady Rosariel's eloquence. Rosariel informed the Marchioness of Sionel that this was not so. Her sister just loves her very much. People said that they really have a very good relationship. Hilda is a little awkward in this place. Madame Sionel. She is the mother of one of the young ladies who followed the princess, and next to her is a lady close to the Empress. No matter who the opponents are, it doesn't matter at all to Rose. Dear Rose, Hilda doesn't understand at all why her soul is so empty. Although they no longer feel awkward in her presence, something is wrong. The father doused himself with wine. Hill was shocked. As soon as he met her gaze, he spilled his wine. He seems to feel guilty about that change of partners. Hill wonders if this was her delusion. It's really all so strange, this feeling of emptiness inside. Hilda's bedroom is simply the ultimate in luxury. If she wants to call the maid, she should simply ring the bell lying next to the bed. It might be inconvenient since she couldn't bring her personal maids with her, but she had to accept it because it was for the safety of the imperial palace. Hilda did not mind and noted that the room was beautiful. She is grateful for the care shown to the Hillington family. Hill intended to be given the smallest corner room by order of the Empress, but apparently the Empress is not so selfish. Hilda asked if she could take a break. The maid confirmed this. The imperial maids are always ready, so the lady can call them at any time. The maid also noticed that at the same time as preparing for the bath, maids would come to help her change into home clothes. If she needs something light for a snack, what can she say? As a result, the maid asked if there was anything else that interested her. Hilda asked how far her little sister's room was from her. The maid reported that this was not so. Walking around the corridor, the first room she sees is the room where Rosariel von Hillington stayed, and the maid also asked if she could show the lady where the Duke of Hillington's room was. Hill agreed. She found out the location of her father's room. Curfew. At this time, you need to be careful, because the Imperial Guard is making its rounds. Something to watch out for in the palace. Hill believes that everything is so strict in the palace. Living here is a headache. They sorted out the luggage brought by carriage from the duchy. Hill can check everything. The maid asked if she should help her with clothes and preparations for the bath. Hildea agreed. Diane asked the gentleman what was wrong with him and what didn't suit him so much. He believed that the gentleman was upset because of the failure to accompany him, or because Hildea was cold as ice. But Gabriel said that this was not the case. Rather, it seemed like they were having a friendlier conversation than usual. They made eye contact and even held hands, although Rosariel interrupted them at the last minute. And that red necklace on Hildea's neck was especially pleasing. He couldn't believe his eyes, but I understood that it was better to get married as quickly as possible, so at least my soul would be calmer. Gabriel said that the problem lies with the hereditary principal Benjamin. Dean asked again because he was surprised that the problem was not with the lady or the emperor. The Duke confirmed this, and he noticed that it seemed that Prince Benjamin knew Hildea. Dean believed that this could not happen. The lady does not communicate with anyone, and the prince is under the wing of the empress. Only his personal knights and entourage are always with him. In that case, I wonder how they met. Gabriel ordered the knight to find out the details. Diane must find out everything that concerns the prince. He's definitely hiding something. The knight wondered if his master had noticed something suspicious. Gabriel wasn't sure, but he seems to be a dangerous man, especially the way he looks at Hildea. The Duke is worried about this. Diane understood his order, but if he's going to keep remembering how he held hands with the lady, this means that Diane can leave and take a break. Mr. Pass was at the banquet, chatting. He must have looked at Lady Hildea 100 times, and he just sat and waited for the master here. Damn chatterbox, Diane, Gabriel allowed. It's late, so he'll wash his face and go to bed early. So even if he feels lonely and abandoned, the master's heart hurts because of unrequited love, and he wants to see Lady Hildea, then you cannot call him, because he will go to Dreamland early. The Duke said that he would not call him, and he could walk faster. Suddenly, Gabriel noticed a note on the floor in which someone invited him to see him in the garden at night. Hilde felt very stuffy. She remembered the maid's words that the imperial garden was very beautiful, but she should refrain from walking during curfew. She said so, but Hildea is so stuffy that she simply cannot stand it. She needs to go out. Hill wondered who she might meet there at such a late hour. It was very beautiful in the garden. There were beautiful purple flowers everywhere. Until now, Hill had not been interested in flowers and plants. Her gaze was aimed at using her abilities. Especially this flower. It's the same color as Gabriel's eyes. Suddenly, unfamiliar and distant thoughts crept into her head. Today, he may appear to her again in a dream. Hill never thought her heart would beat like that. She heard a question about why they should see each other here, after which the girl decided that these were just sound hallucinations. But then she heard her sister's voice. Rosé asked where else they could meet in this huge palace. They may be misunderstood when they exchanged letters. Hildea herself did not understand why she hid. It would be better to just leave or quickly run away from here. Hilde inadvertently eavesdrops. Gabriel asked why Rosé called him. Rose was shocked that he was even asking. She asked if there were any other reasons besides their relationship with him. Hildea begged for her legs to move. She didn't understand at all why at this time she couldn't muster the strength in her legs. You can't. It's better to close your ears. And she mentally asks her sister to take her fiancé and leave. Rosariel asked if he liked it that way. Gabriel confirmed. Hildea thought that she could just leave. It's not that you can't stay here. But if she leaves, then everything will stop in an instant. However, she heard something about the proposal. Events move faster than in the original. They met much earlier than in the original. And of course, we overlapped a lot, so this proposal is natural. This is something Hill was looking forward to.